And we are back, starting with the Bronze Era. So I think what we said our plan for this section is to do the Bronze Age movies and the Renaissance movies. If we get a little too exhausted partway through the Renaissance, we'll call it. If after the Renaissance we want to keep going, then, like I said last time, we will go until we go, or we'll go as we go.
We'll shop till we drop dead.
And so we are, speaking of things that make you want to drop dead, we're on the Aristocats, which before we started the marathon, you had said this is a movie you did not want to watch because you had seen it before, you did not like it, you thought it was super boring. And I made a prediction. I said, you're going to watch it, and you are no longer going to hate this movie. You are going to think it's fine. You're not going to love it, but you're like, it's fine. It's not worth the hate I give it, but and I remember being wrong.
Very, very wrong. And I apologize if my voice sounds a little weird. I am feeling kind of under the weather, but I don't like this movie. I turned Swedish for a moment.
Just like Uncle Boris.
I don't like this movie. No, sir, not one bit. Okay, so first off, its look. It tries to kind of do the same weird, sketchy, unfinished style that 101 Dalmatians, but it worked in 101 Dalmatians because of the art style they were going with. Here, the movie just looks unfinished, like they forgot to clean up the frames. I don't care about basically anything that's going on because it makes no sense. And I get it, it's a fucking cartoon and what have you, but it's like, okay, so the premise is that, like, there's this really old lady, she's very wealthy, but she is getting along in years, and she's like, I need to go ahead and write my will. And she decides she's going to leave her inheritance to her cat Duchess. And the butler hears this, and the butler's been serving her for a long, long time, and he feels very slighted by this, because he's like, well, I've been serving for so long, and she has no heirs. I feel like it should go to me instead of this cat. And it's like, well, now I have to serve this cat forever, and that's really screwed up. And it's like, and so he decides to catnap them and, like, throw them in a river or what have you, so that only he could be the one who inherits it.
Because nobody's smart but him.
Because nobody's smart but him. But it's like, okay, if you look at this from any kind of realistic standpoint, like, okay, yeah, the cat inherits the wealth, but it's a cat. Two things. One, cats live maybe like 14, 15 years if they're lucky. And I feel like Duchess is already kind of an older cat. Two, it's a cat.
Well, it's Duchess and her kittens.
Duchess and her kittens.
So you have to live out 4 of them. But I get what you're saying, that it's not going to be
that long. Two, cats have no legal agency from what I understand, so he would be the representative of the estate, which means that as long as he takes care of the cats, which he does, it's his money, essentially.
Yeah, like, it sounds like at that point, it's essentially, it would be a trust, and he would be the trustee.
Basically. And so his whole decision to fucking murder these cats so he gets all the money makes literally no sense whatsoever. And it's one of those things where I guess a kid wouldn't really pay attention, because kids don't know what the fuck a trust is. And it's like, but for an adult watching this, they immediately go, okay, this entire plot makes absolutely no sense. Like, it is completely diverged from reality. And I know this is a movie with talking cats in it and a drunk goose called Uncle Boris.
Sorry, you talk about how this movie is divorced from reality. Just made me think of Boss Baby 2. Like, yeah, Tim Time.
Yeah. But it's like,
Boss Baby 2, this movie ain't.
At least Cinderella makes sense. There's a shitty stepmother torturing her poor daughter, and then a fairy comes down and saves the day. And it's like, but even then, Cinderella still, like, can do her own stuff. She is able to get herself out of this by the end of it. But at least that story follows some frame of logic. Even Pinocchio follows some frame of logic a little bit. It's like Pinocchio is, he's a wooden boy. He wants to be a real boy. He has to be a good boy to be a real boy. So he tries to go to school, but bad things happen. There is some logic behind it. This feels so completely illogical that it kind of made me not care about... Oh, shit. Kind of made me not care about the rest of the movie. And, yeah, I don't care about, like, anything that's going on. I don't really care about Duchess or the kids, mostly because I found the kids kind of irritating. I liked Duchess because she is this very, like, you know, like, she is this prim and proper lady who's, you know, she's just trying to make sure her kids are safe.
Also voiced by Ava Gabor. Which immediately, like, raises any character up, like, 10 points, as we'll see with the Rescuers.
Because that is Ava Gabor, right?
Yeah.
Because I think it's Zsa Zsa Gabor in Down Under.
Yes.
Sorry. But what was his name? Tom?
Yeah, Thomas. Okay, so I don't
Thomas
remember. I
O'Malley.
can never remember his full name, even though he sings it. But it's Thomas O'Malley the Alley Cat.
He's also kind of there. It's like none of the characters left a huge impact except for Duchess because Ava Gabor. And I honestly found most of the bits in this movie just really irritating. Like
even Uncle Boris, because I think
Uncle Boris is kind of funny.
That scene is hysterical to me. It always has been, always will be.
Uncle Boris was kind of funny, but okay, the song "Everybody Wants to Be a Cat." Every time I hear that song, I actually want to tear my ears off and shove the remains of my ears into my sockets so I can't hear it anymore. I fucking hate it. I think it is the worst song of the entire Disney, like, everything.
Okay, that bad?
That bad. For me, it's an F movie.
An F tier movie. Okay, I am not gonna go nearly that low. I think a lot of it is because I do still enjoy the movie. Like, I find Duchess to be... I do agree. The kids are a little annoying, but they're not awful by any means. Like, they are just very young kids. I've always liked O'Malley. I like his vibe. Like, he's just a cool dude. You know what he is? He is a cat version of the Tramp. And I really like the Tramp. Like, I just like that very streetwise character. Like, he's very Baloo-ish. He has the same voice, and, like, I love that dude's voice. I don't know if Robin Hood's the next movie.
You know, I never really made the connection that O'Malley and Baloo have the same voice.
Yeah, and also Little John from Robin Hood.
Oh, I knew that because that was he basically just looks like Baloo. Yeah.
Because, you know, Robin Hood just reused everything from other movies.
It really did. But we'll get to that.
But regardless, like, I really like O'Malley. I really like Duchess. The Uncle Boris scene is just fucking hilarious to me. Yeah, everybody wants to be a cat. I remember as a kid it was super endearing. As an adult, it's a bit annoying. There's also this one cat that's like a really racist caricature. Like, I remember that going like, oh.
Pretty sure that was a reused asset from Lady and the Tramp.
I think it was, too. And I was like, oh. You know, the song went from being kind of annoying to, oh, that's... I don't know about that one. And then you have Duchess's solo where she's making Nala eyes at O'Malley going, if you want to turn me on. I'm like, what direction is this song going? I don't know anymore, movie. I wouldn't go so low as F. It's probably a D tier movie. I could maybe convince myself to put it in C, but I know you wouldn't go that high, so I think we could compromise for a D.
I think that's fair. It's a D tier movie. So next is Robin Hood and the Legend of the Reused Assets.
This movie is so funny.
Honestly, yeah, it is.
Little John, or excuse me, not Little John, Prince John is so funny.
Mummy, I've got dirt on my thumb.
Just his design, like just how constantly pouty and punchable his face is, his voice, the shit he says, and then you've got
kind of reminds me a little bit of the Prince John from the Mel Brooks Robin Hood movie. Like, I think the running gag with him, beside him being like a little coward, is that he has a mole on his face that keeps changing positions every single time, every single scene he's in, and someone's like, "Wasn't your mole on the other side of your face?" I have a mole. But yeah, Robin Hood's just a lot of fun. It does reuse a lot of shit, though.
You do.
Like, I think we looked it up. Like, there are like several scenes from, I think, like The Jungle Book.
Like, I know specifically, I think it's the dance between Baloo and King Louie where they're, like, twirling each other around. You're like, yeah, there it is. I think it's in this movie multiple times.
It is, actually. I think it is. They used some like, line art from Jungle Book, and I'm sure they did it for a few more movies as well. Disney was in a bit of an animation slump, I think, at this point. Because I think this era is generally where they moved away from animation and they were focusing more on live action movies. Because I know there was a lot of live action movies that came out around this era, like Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, A Candle Shoe, Candle Shoe.
I've never seen it. It might be a phenomenal film.
I don't know. Fuzz Bucket, which we know is an F tier movie. Let's be honest.
What's Fuzz Bucket?
I have no idea, but that is a movie that actually exists.
Okay, fair enough.
But it is just a kind of an endearingly good time. Like, it is a retelling of the Robin Hood stories. You know, you got the famous, like, archery contest.
He just splits the arrow.
He splits the arrow. But it is done in that kind of very kid-friendly, cartoon animal kind of style, and it is very charming. And let's be honest.
And this movie made a lot of furry.
I was going to bring that up. It's like, oh, this was the start of... Because I don't think there was any real furry bait before this.
I would say Duchess going, if you want to.
That
might be the start of it.
That might be the start of it, but like Maid Marian in this movie, made a lot of weirdos.
I know Robin did too.
Robin did too.
That's another way you can tell it's a Disney movie going forward. It's like, alright, does someone drink? Does someone smoke? Are there guns? Is there weirdly strong furry bait? And then starting from Black Cauldron onwards, is there a Gurgi? Because I remember as we were going, we're like, who's the Gurgi?
Who's the Gurgi in the movie? Yeah, because it was like, I think the CEO really liked the Black Cauldron around that time, and so he wanted a Gurgi in every movie or some dumb shit like that. Yeah, it is just a pleasant time. I remember one scene where, like, the sheriff is, like, stealing from the church, essentially. He's like, oh, like, taxes. I can't remember. There was, like, a line he said that was just so slimy.
Yeah, I don't remember, but I remember that happening, but I don't remember what it was specifically.
And then you have you have the friar fucking bouncing him out of the church with his gut. And it's like, it's just a fun time. It's just a pleasant time. I would probably give it a C, but you could argue for a B, maybe.
I feel like kind of the same. It's like, it's a B on a really good day, but I feel like it's overall probably more of a C tier movie, but it is a good time.
It is a fun time. Speaking of a fun time,
is that Winnie the Pooh?
It's Winnie the Pooh.
I'm a little black ring. Just that moment where Pooh is like super dirty and gray, and Christopher, so what are you supposed to be? I'm a little black rain cloud, of course. Got a huge laugh out of me.
So, Winnie the Pooh it's kind of like the wartime movies where it is just a collection of shorts, but it's Winnie the Pooh. It is the most wholesome shit possible. Like,
is sweeter than honey, Christopher.
Shut the fuck up. Apparently that Winnie the Pooh movie is really bad, like the slasher one.
Yeah,
apparently it's not even good. It's not even like a bad good kind of thing. It's just bad. But this is one of those movies that I watched a lot as a kid, along with like Pooh's Grand Adventure, which traumatized me as a kid. Because yeah, like the Skullosaurus, man, you don't fuck with that. But this movie is just so pleasant. It's like a warm blanket on a cold day. It is with a hot cup of cocoa. You know that feeling.
Just on a real blustery day.
On a real blustery day. Everything about it, the music, the characters, it's just so nice. It's so pleasant. And it's an S-tier fucking movie.
Like, I know you're gonna put it in S. Like, just do what you gotta do. It's not an S-tier movie for me. So again, for me, it's like, can I make an argument that this is my favorite of the bunch? I can't do that for Pooh. It's an easy A for me, though, because it's so aggressively pleasant. I remember as I was watching it getting a bit bored because it is just like a collection of shorts rather than here's a continuous thing. But I feel like if I just wanted to watch one or two of the shorts, I could put it on at any time, have a good time. If I was having a really shitty day, I could probably watch one of these and go, things just feel a little bit better now because it just has that vibe. It just has that effect. It just puts a smile, like, just talking about it. And then even, like, the new one that came out a few years ago. God, that came out, like, a decade ago now, thinking about it. Because we're in 2023. I think it came out in, like, 2021?
I want to say...
2011.
Yeah, I want to say it was 2011. And we'll get to that eventually.
Yeah, and it's like, even that was just so fucking
It was
pleasant.
so nice. And that's the great thing about Winnie the Pooh, is that there's no... It's so pure, I think is the word to use for it. It is this pure, childlike joy that makes it just so much fun to watch. And it's still very emotional. Like, the ending does get me very emotional by the end. I'm not gonna lie. And, like, that scene at the very beginning where it's, like, it's going over Christopher Robin's room in reality, and it's, like, it's starting, like, doing the narration, you be hearing the theme, like, that shit is peak nostalgia for me. But for me, it's an S-tier movie, but I'm guessing for you it's, like, an A-tier.
It's an A, but...
We'll put it in S-tier.
Yeah, you can keep it in S. Like, that's your movie, man. You take that.
Oh, thank you.
So who's next? Is that The Fox and the Hound?
No, it's The Rescuers.
Oh, my God!
Talk about surprises. So, I remember starting this marathon, and I had told Josh that The Rescuers Down Under is one of my favorite Disney movies. Because I think this was actually before the marathon.
This was before the marathon.
Because we actually watched The Rescuers before we started the marathon.
Yes.
It was a few years back.
Yeah, it was a couple years before.
But I told him The Rescuers Down Under is one of my favorite Disney movies. I had the VHS growing up. I love that movie. And I remember seeing The Rescuers, like, once before, and I didn't like it. And then we watched The Rescuers, and holy fucking shit, was I completely wrong. Because, a bit of a spoiler alert for Down Under, my opinion took a 180
they
on
completely
both.
flipped.
Because The Rescuers is a fantastic movie, while I think the Down Under movie is actually suffers. It's not as good as I remember it being.
It's fine.
It's
but...
fine at best. But The Rescuers is honestly really, really good.
You know what? I want to go ahead and... I'm sorry to interrupt real quick, but since we're going to get to Down Under not too long, since they are a first movie and a sequel, and one of the only times this happens, but do we want to just talk about them both right now? Because we're going to get to Down Under pretty soon anyways. We almost kind of might as well.
Yeah, that's fair. Let's go ahead and get that out of the way. All right, so we'll talk about The Rescuers first. I love the voice acting in this, especially because, okay, you have Ava Gabor, and I don't remember who plays... I
think it's Bob Newhart.
I think it is Bob Newhart.
As Bernard.
As Bernard, and Bob Newhart is such a great voice. And I don't remember who the bird is, but I know he is a famous...
Was it John Candy? No, I think
John Candy was Down Under. So I'm going to look this up real quick, because the voice cast is so good in this. Bob Newhart is Bernard. Ava Gabor is Miss Bianca. Geraldine Page was Madame Medusa, which, great fucking name, by the way.
And then her alligators are named Brutus and Nero.
So
we had to pause so I could laugh for like 2 straight minutes.
I remember what you were saying.
How tier those names are.
You were saying in the last video about, like, Lucifer, like, that is such a great name for, like, a villain's pet. And it's like, then you've got this, and it's like, oh, that's so much better. Let's see. Joe Flynn is Mr. Snoops. It's Jim Jordan who is Orville. And Jim Jordan is, I remember he's Fibber McGee. And Fibber McGee and Molly. I
don't think I know what that is.
He's not in a lot of stuff. Fibber McGee and Molly was it was a radio comedy program. Okay. It was a husband and wife program where they played as these characters. And so that's kind of what he was known for. And then it was John Candy as the bird in Down Under.
Were they both albatross? Yeah, because like
they were both albatrosses, and right? they were brothers. Because one was Wilbur, one was Orville. But yeah, the voice casting for the 2 main leads are great. It's just a really good story. Like, it is just a really well-paced, well-told story. And God, I feel bad for this little girl,
yeah,
like Penny. Poor Penny. It's like, you feel so bad for her. And, damn it. And yeah, like, it's like, damn, Madame Medusa, you are a real piece of shit, but you're also just, it's so fun to watch because she's such a horrendous woman. Like, just this disgusting caricature of a human being. Along with, like, Mr. Snoops, her, like, accountant or what have you. It's just well paced. It's very well done. It looks pretty good. Like I remember the night scenes in the bayou looked really, really well done. And yeah, just it's hard for me to put it into words. I just say it's well done. It is just a well done movie.
It's well done like a rare steak.
Don't even.
What?
But I mean, I see the wordplay you're trying to get at there, but I don't know.
Sorry, we had steak last night. And so
I know.
The steak's still a little bit on the brain. The scene where our heroes are trying to escape Brutus and Nero by hiding in the piano, and so the alligators are, I don't know if they're alligators or crocs, I want to say gators. It's the fucking bayou, they're gators. So the gators playing the piano to like use this like the fucking steam engine shit to knock them out of the pipes and try to grab them is so fun to watch. I don't remember the name of the like dragonfly, but I remember him being like so clutch so consistently. Like he was a homie. All the animals in the bayou were just homies. Penny reminds me a lot of Cinderella, where she is, this is a person who is in a really terrible situation, but they keep fighting in different ways. Like, Cinderella is not actively fighting, but she doesn't let them break her spirit. Penny keeps actively trying to escape, and I remember parts where, like, one of the gators really would just, like, grab her, like, by her, like, britches and, like, drag her in, and she's just, like, yelling at him, trying to, like, put me down, Brutus. Brutus and Nero. It's still really so funny to me, and even the name Madame Medusa is just so good. The way she moves and, like, twiddles her fingers and shit. I remember the scene when Penny is, like, actively getting the diamond as the water is rising. It's, like, it's actually, like, a really intense moment. And yeah, I like Bernard and Bianca. Bianca is just a good person. Like, I want to do what I can to help because that's what they do. And Bernard, bless him, he's doing his best.
He's trying.
He's trying so hard. He's trying to save Penny. He's trying to look good for Bianca. He's trying to rise above his station as the fucking janitor. I like these two. I like this movie a lot. It's an A for sure. I don't know if it's quite an S tier movie.
I don't think so, but it is definitely a very solid A. Like, it earns that spot.
So, I feel like it is kind of fair to go and talk about its little brother for a bit. The Rescuers Down Under. This movie looks great. Like, holy shit, the flying scene is immaculate.
It is a Renaissance movie, weirdly enough. Just given its general quality, like in its animation, it is a Renaissance movie, and its storytelling, not nearly as much.
But, we gotta give a shout out where shout outs are due. McLeach, played by George C. Scott,
is the best part of the movie.
He is hysterical.
I didn't graduate the third grade for nothing.
These are not Joanna eggs. Joanna is our Gurgi of the movie, but she's so consistently funny and entertaining that we did not hate her.
Like, just that entire scene where she's stealing the eggs while he's, like, right there.
It's so good.
It is really well done.
And just her waving to McLeach as he goes over the waterfall.
Jesus. But other than that, the movie does suffer a lot. Like, I feel like Bernard and Bianca's, they had really good chemistry in The Rescuers, and that chemistry's just kind of not there because they barely interact with each other, which is weird because, they're the main duo. I feel like their personalities are relatively the same, but they don't really get a chance to build off of it like they did in the first movie. Mostly because he got that third mouse, button in intentionally.
Yeah, I don't remember his name, but he's just the Australian dude.
The Australian cuck.
Australian cuck. Well, I mean, he wouldn't be a cuck, he'd be a homewrecker.
That's true, he's the Australian homewrecker. Which sounds like a TF2 weapon that the sniper
Or it sounds like a WWE where it's the Australian homewrecker, JR! He got Randy Orton in the corner!
Watch out! McLeach is good. The kid, I honestly found just kind of annoying. Like, it's like, yeah, he is resourceful, but he's also an idiot. It's like, yeah, okay, you meet a poacher, and he's like, yeah, as soon as I get out of here, I'm gonna call the Rangers, and they're gonna arrest you.
Not the Rangers! Oh no, what am I gonna do about the Rangers?
I'm like, dude, he was gonna let you go until you started talking all that shit. And the pacing of the movie, I remember being really off.
Like, you remember how there's this one long scene with Cody trapped with all the animals, and they're talking about how they're gonna escape, and we kind of get another Gurgi in the movie, the, like, frilled lizard. I want to say his name was Frank. And there's this long scene about them trying to escape, and then it all amounts to nothing anyways. Like, it was just there to fill time.
I'm like, oh, boy. But it's like, the movie does look good, but it just doesn't have the same amount of charm that the first movie had, and it doesn't have the same amount of just the coherency, I think. And so I feel like it's a C-tier movie.
I would agree. To me, the moment where I checked out of the movie, unfortunately, was really early on. Sorry, I had a hair on my tongue. I hate it when that happens. It is the scene you talked about. It's when Cody gets captured. McLeach is like, oh yeah, like, it's just a punk kid, it is what it is. And then Cody just keeps talking, and then McLeach does see, like, the feather on him, and then at that point it does become clear, like, he's gonna let Cody go so he can follow him to the nest. And Cody kind of realizes that, and he's like, yeah, I need to report you, you're a bad person, I don't want my friend to be hurt. But it does come across as he's being way too... he's a kid, I get it. I think the problem is I look at Penny and how she was someone who was very resourceful and actively doing everything she could to escape, while Cody essentially just lets himself be caught at that point. Like, I'm gonna just do this, so you now have no incentive to let me go. You know what, kid? You're right. I do have no incentive to let you go anymore. Oh. Well, this backfired spectacularly. Like, I'm sorry,
yeah,
kid.
you were popping off all that good shit a little bit ago.
I was like, man, that just really took me out of the movie. And like you said, you don't get as much time with Bernard and Bianca. Although the scene where he is trying to propose to her at the very start, he keeps, like, dropping the ring and shit. It was pretty fun. I do think it's okay. To me, it is a big step down from the first one, but it is by no means a bad film.
Mm-hmm.
We have as many C tiers as we have A tiers. Is that about to change? Who's next?
Fox and the Hound.
It's not about to change. Oh, it's about to change, but
the scales are about to tip. We're gonna go ahead and just put that where it belongs.
Yeah, I remember really looking forward to rewatching this, and
Same.
I was expecting, like, this to be this fantastic movie, and I was gonna be, like, fucking crying at the end because of the beauty of their friendship and how, you know, they did everything they could to still be friends, but they were torn apart because the hunter's a dickbag, and then even after all the shit that's happened, Copper still lets him go, and it's something beautiful, and it just didn't work. And I think the problem is you don't actually get a lot of them as friends. Like, I get the relationship between the old woman and Todd. Like, her letting him go. That is the most, like, emotionally devastating part of the movie. Like, that fucking hurt to watch. But he and Copper, like, they kind of hang out, like, once or twice. And then that's it.
That's what the sequel's for.
I guess. And then Chief gets injured chasing Todd, which was not Todd's fault. But then Copper's like, because of this, Chief got hurt, not killed, but he gets hurt. He's like, that's it, Todd, now I'm gonna fucking kill you. Like, I get it, Copper, like, Chief's also your dude, like, you've been with him for a long time,
Chief's
but,
also a real piece of shit.
Chief's a real piece of shit, and, like, do I feel sympathy for him? Yeah, but not as much as I do for Todd and his owner. Like, wow, why couldn't the bear just kill the hunter? Which, shout out to the bear. Like, we were talking about how Lampwick turning into a donkey is the scariest thing. It's scarier than this, but fuck, that bear is spooky.
I did not realize your cat was in my room.
Oh, I didn't either. Hey, Bubba.
Where were you? Were you under my bed?
Oh, Bubba. You want to play with a little bit of string? Here, I'm going to play with my cat for a bit. You can I think that's kind of what I have to say about it. Like, I don't remember it looking particularly good. Like, it didn't look bad or anything, but it wasn't as impressive. I think the pacing really suffered, and
The pacing, I would concur. This was another one of those Disney movies that I grew up with, and I remember liking it. I don't remember loving it as a kid. I wouldn't put it on nearly as much as some other movies like The Lion King, but I think it is fine. It is an alright movie. It's good for a watch or two. The bear scene is the best part of the movie to me, aside from like the old lady like sending Todd away, like, because that scene's just really devastating. But like the bear is just so terrifying, and I love the way the hunter's animated during that, like the sheer panic he has when he sees the bear, and how everything that's happened, everything drops. Like, this isn't about hunting Todd. This is survival at this point. And I also do really like that scene where the hunter's about to kill Todd and Copper steps in front of him, and the silence. And there is no music. There is just the sound of the water, and then Copper just kind of like whining, and you just see the anger slowly leaving the hunter's face, and he's just like, all right, let's go home. As like that is really good. That is a really good scene. It has powerful moments, but it is peaks and valleys of quality, I would say. So it is a C-tier movie, but it is not a bad movie by any stretch of the mean.
Oh, sorry. I misread our tier list when I said we had as many C's as A's. I meant C's as S's.
Yeah. So, speaking of bad movies, so The Black Cauldron.
You can't see me, hypothetical audience, but I am fucking grinning. Because I love this movie.
I'll let you go first. I'm sure you have the most to say.
So this is a movie I watched a lot as a kid and was kind of obsessed with, and I don't know why. Like, I get why I was obsessed with The Brave Little Toaster as a kid. It had a lot of music.
You definitely had a lot of sense of humor as a kid.
Oh gosh, like I remember in law school, like several years ago, hanging out with some of my friends, and one of my friends was like, hey, you know what's a movie I haven't seen in a long time we should throw on? The Brave Little Toaster. I was like, guys, that's one of my favorite movies of all time. I know exactly where to find it. And so, like, I found a YouTube video of it. We watched it. And I remember several of my friends just being like,
what the fuck
is wrong like, this is one of your favorite movies you watched all the time. That explains so much. And one of my friends, his jaw was on the floor watching, like, the fucking scene at the dump. He's like, yes. He's like, oh my god, like, what is this? How did kids watch this? I'm like, I don't know. I turned out fine.
Clearly not.
But speaking of, yeah, movies I watched, but I somehow turned out fine. Quote unquote, was this fucking shit. I don't know why I thought it was the coolest thing. Rewatching it, it's kind of a mess. And not even kind of. Like, our main character, fuck, what's his name?
It's something
Tarzan, I believe is what it is. He's not the most likable. Like, he's pretty annoying and obnoxious.
Mr. Pig Boy.
I don't remember the name of the bard, but he's a bard, so I had some fun with him. I remember, what's the princess's name? Like, Aloise, something close to that. Kind of a shame that with all the, like, Disney princess lines and merches, she's just never in it, even though she is a Disney princess. Maybe they lost the rights. I don't know. Maybe it is because they're like, well, no one really liked the Black Cauldron, so I guess we'll just ignore an actual princess in our Disney lineup and make Mulan a princess, even though she's not a princess, and I'm not bothered by this at all. But regardless, I think she is a pretty fun character.
Yeah, the bar was named Fluterflam.
Man's name sounds like a fucking tube of toothpaste.
Buy Fluterflam now. Your teeth will thank you.
Sponsored by Fire Emblem Engage.
God damn it.
The animation looks so fucking good, though. This movie looks incredible. And rewatching it, even though I'm like, man, the pacing doesn't work. I don't really like the main character that much. Like, it's so pretty to look at. It looks impeccable. I love just how oppressively dark it is, and all like the blacks and the reds and the browns. The Horned King, John motherfucking Hurt. One of the things I love about Owl House is Emperor Bellows. One of the things I love about Emperor Bellows is that his voice actor sounds like he's doing a John Hurt impression. And when you see this man's silhouette for the first time and hear his voice, like, is this just based on the Horned King? There's no way he wasn't. Like, I've never heard anything supporting that. I've never heard anything that, like, directly to the contrary. My headcanon is that someone, probably Dana Terrace, really liked this movie, or at least really thought the Horned King was cool, and said, I'm gonna make that guy the villain. It's so cool, like, all the fucking, like, the scene, like, all the souls, and just, like, how weird it looks. This movie makes me way happier than it should. It's like, is it a good movie? Probably not, but I love it as a piece of art. It does have Gurgi, and I know people are annoyed as hell by
Munchies and crunchies.
And those crackers for cheese.
Oh, fuck that. Oh, fuck that.
It's like, yeah, I know people don't like Gurgi, and I don't think I like Gurgi, but I don't hate Gurgi. And yeah, the fact that his sacrifice is depressing as hell. Not just in the sense of, like, alright, someone has to throw themselves into the cauldron, that's the only way you can stop it, like, save the world. He does it not to save the world, necessarily. It's like, I have to do this, don't stop me, and it is literally, no one likes me anyways. If someone has to die to save the world, it might as well be me, since no one will miss me. That's really fucked.
That's pretty depressing.
It's like, oh my gosh, what a great kids movie. What a great family movie. But I kind of think it is. It's an A-tier movie for me. I don't think you're gonna be able to go that high. I don't think I'm gonna get this.
No.
But I love it.
Nah.
Please, let me have this.
I cannot in good conscience put this movie in A-tier, Josh.
But you can't put it in S. I got you. You're doing me a super song.
Okay. This movie is like you said, it is a giant fucking mess. It is, all the budget went to the animation and none of it went to the script. Because it's such a weird, it's adapting a series of fantasy novels made in the 60s. And I think it's mostly based off of the second book, which is the Black Cauldron, but I think it also just takes elements from other books. And it just makes this weird amalgamation. I haven't actually read the books themselves, but it feels like there are giant gaps missing. And it feels like these characters would probably be pretty okay in writing, but not in this. I didn't like any of these people. I didn't really like the main cast. The villain is cool. He is a bit of a generic Doomsday villain, but it's voiced by John Hurt, which, like Ava Gabor, anything voiced by John Hurt just gets like a +10 to the rating.
I want him in Kingdom Hearts so bad, Clay. I've been wanting the Horned King.
I mean, if they start doing like the animated shows, we get an Owl House world. You'll get.
I know. Like I'll settle for Bellows.
Like we saw the Owl House finale. I was just thinking to myself like, oh, this would be a dope ass Kingdom Hearts.
100%. I would love the Boiling Isles.
But it's just not well done. It's just not right. It fails on so many fundamental aspects of storytelling that the fact that it looks good doesn't really salvage it. For me, it is a C-tier movie if I'm being nice. I honestly believe it is a D-tier movie, but we have very, very conflicting opinions. I feel like this is the movie that we are going to have the most conflicting opinions on.
Probably. Put it in B, please. If you can't give me my baby in A, at least put it in B.
We can do that.
You can respect the art and the Horned King enough.
Not really, but I'll give you this.
I appreciate it.
So next is The Great Mouse Detective. I fucking love this movie. I genuinely adore this movie. It's one of those Disney movies I had as a kid. And it's just so much fun. And I will tell you exactly why it's so much fun.
Vincent fucking Price!
Vincent Price, in his final role, hamming it the hell up, as he is wont to do.
Oh, Bartholomew, you have upset me.
You know what happens when I'm upset.
I love it when I'm nasty. Radigan...
I quoted that shit for like 2 months straight.
Yeah. Radigan is just a treat. He is just, again, like with Ava Gabor and like with John Hurt, Vincent Price makes everything better. And Radigan is just so much fun as a villain. He's having the time of his life. Just being this Moriarty XP that is just butt fucking sane, and he knows it and he loves it. His entire villain song is just people singing his praises.
As he's just grinning the entire time, like, yes, I did kill all the orphans, didn't I?
Oh, I'm so awful.
Let me be good to you. The fact that they each have framed pictures of the other.
I just remember that scene at the beginning where he's like, "This can only be the work of Professor Radigan," and it goes to the portrait, and the portrait starts smiling.
Yeah, it changed to start grinning.
I love that meme. I love that shit so much. I think Basil, like, he's fine. Like, he's Sherlock Holmes, and Sherlock Holmes I always find to be kind of the least interesting part of a Sherlock Holmes story, because he is... It's kind of like what we were saying with Mr. Peabody and Sherman. He is that kind of know-it-all, condescending prick that nobody really likes. But also nobody really likes Sherlock Holmes in the stories. Watson respects him. I don't think they generally get along. At least that's my interpretation.
I mean, I feel like in Sherlock they did.
In Sherlock, it was very, like
there was definitely, like, they had their moments of getting annoyed
prickly
at each other, but it was very clear that they were very good friends, because all Holmes did, all Watson really did was just praise him constantly. Like, that was one of the reasons I didn't get into the show. It felt like every other line of Watson was, "You're brilliant! Oh my god!" And I'm like, yeah, I know, but, like, you don't have to keep telling me this every time he says anything.
Elementary, my dear Watson. Dawson, he's a very good character. He is a very good version of Watson. He is very kind. He is kind of Holmes' conscience, because I think even in the original stories, like, Holmes is a sociopath. It's a lot more prevalent in, like, the BBC Sherlock show, but I think even in the originals, he always kind of came across as a little heartless. Like, he is there purely for the fun of solving a mystery. He doesn't particularly care about doing right or wrong. He just wants to figure it out. But Dawson's a really good version. I do like the little girl character. I like the dad. Like, that opening scene where the dad, like, gets assaulted and kidnapped is actually kind of terrifying for a kid to watch. And that's the other thing, is that this movie has surprisingly a lot of really scary scenes, like the clock tower.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the clock tower is when it stops being a fun, family-friendly adventure and actually becomes really scary.
Like, oh yeah, that's a giant fucking rat.
And he's lost his shit. And he just brutalizes Basil at the end. And it's such a well-done scene. I think this was also the first time they used 3D animation in a Disney movie.
I'm not sure. It might have been.
Because the clock tower it does have 3D animation in it. I think it's the first time they've done it. They might have done something in the Black Cauldron, but I don't remember. But it is just a really well done, likable movie. I would put it in A, personally.
I would too. Like, there's a lot of really cool set pieces here. You brought up the clock tower. Just the giant death trap that Basil was put in after falling in Radigan's trap. And then he's like, oh, I don't know what to... Like, he's just so depressed. And then it just clicks. And then he's like, oh, blah, 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 blah. Don't forget to smile. And it was just a really fun scene. And, like, the giant fight in the toy store was also really cool.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is creepy as fuck. But, like, a fun creepy. And, gosh, Vincent Price. Just not a fucking legend.
Yes.
I love it when I'm nasty.
He will be missed.
Ratigan is definitely like This I think was the second time I'd seen the movie because I had seen it a few years ago. Also with you, because I had never seen it, and I was like, yeah, like this is a gap in my knowledge I want to fill because I keep hearing that this is this cult classic movie and it's awesome, and I've never seen it. And I was just grinning the entire time. Like, I'm glad I fixed the problem of me not seeing this, because this was a good fucking time.
It really was. Then we have Oliver and Company, which I can't really say.
Okay, so
this
here's
is much of a good time.
I literally saw a meme on Twitter yesterday where a guy I follow was saying, does this movie actually exist? Because I think I've only ever seen it in ads for on VHS ads of other movies. I've never seen the whole thing. Is this movie real? Absolutely positively.
Yeah, but I can barely remember it. It's one of those movies where we watched it and I think I forgot about it like the week after. It is an intensely forgettable experience with the exception of that one song and the way the villain dies, which is metal as fuck.
Oh, 100%. Where he gets like, okay, so first off, like his dogs get like thrown onto a train track, and then you hear them whimper like as they're falling, like getting electrocuted,
and you see them like spark and fizzle. And it's like, holy shit.
And then Sykes just gets like rammed by a train,
and you just see his pupils widen as the light hits him, and he's like, But you have the song. I can't remember the singer.
Perfect.
It's not that one. Easy. Not that one.
But it's me.
No, not that one.
I know you're talking about the Billy Joel.
Yeah, Billy Joel. That's it.
Georgette is so funny to me.
Georgette is pretty funny. I think I liked the movie. But it's so forgettable. It's so meh. It's like I feel like it's a C-tier movie. Really?
Now I will say this.
You'll say this.
This is not a forgettable movie for me because I've seen it so many times. It is one of those movies that is like imprinted on my soul. Now I really don't think I can argue in good faith that it's a great film. Because rewatching, it's fine. I do think it is a C-tier movie. Excuse me. But I have a soft spot for it. I think the characters are likable enough. Dodger has that, O'Malley Baloo vibe that I really like. And just kind of like the whole crew has that vibe. And it's not quite a heist movie, but it has kind of like these mini heist moments that I really enjoy. Tito is our Gurgi of the picture. I can understand people finding him annoying, but I've seen the movie so
the
much.
Taco Bell dog?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Old Chihuahua. I've seen this movie so many times. I was like, no, he's a part of the crew. It works, and
part of the crew, part of the show.
I think Georgette is fucking hilarious.
just this insane,
incredibly
diva.
Self-obsessed, award-winning poodle. Her introduction is so funny.
Yeah.
It's just so over the top. It's fantastic. And the villain goes out really hardcore. And I respect the hell out of it for that. I don't think I would quite put it in B, but I do think I'd put it in C.
Yeah.
We have a lot of C-tier movies, but we're now in the Renaissance, so we're starting to get A-S-S-S-A-A-S-S.
S. Alright, I feel like I'm the dissenter here, so if you don't mind, I'm going to go first.
You go ahead.
I don't like The Little Mermaid. Particularly, I don't like The Little Mermaid. I don't like Ariel. To me, she is my least favorite Disney princess.
No.
This is probably going to make a lot of people hate me.
Or a lot of people agree with you, because I feel like Ariel is a very contentious character. You either really like her or you really don't.
So, first, I will just go over the positives. It is a Disney Renaissance movie, and that means the animation is top tier, the music is top tier, holy fucking shit. I will not deny that this movie looks and sounds amazing. It is such an incredible, strong step forward, and this is the movie that began the Renaissance. I think the overall story is really good. It has a fantastic villain in Ursula. along with one of the best villain songs, which, yeah, okay, all the best villain songs are in this part of the, like, in this generation.
Friends from the Other Side.
True. That is a contender, but I don't think there's really anything after that.
I think that is the last villain song.
Well, actually, no, there's Mother Knows Best from Tangled.
No, okay, you're right. I forgot about that one.
You could argue that Let It Go is a little bit of a villain song, because Elsa is the antagonist.
No, because Hans... I kept wanting to call him Franz for some reason. I don't know what Hans and Franz... But I guess in that regard, Love is an Open Door, but not really, so I wouldn't count it. So I would say Mother Gospel, I think, is the most...
Villain songs are a lost art, man. Disney needs to get back on that shit.
I mean, just having full-on villains throughout the entire movie is
That's true. We're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that in another video. But Ursula's great. We'll put a
line from Bolt,
which I believe in the next video we'll get to. Ursula is great. I do like a lot of the characters. I like the dad, Triton. I like that he is a father. He is a flawed individual. And I remember, like, the one scene is, like, when he destroys all of Ariel's stuff, and you just see him just slump afterwards, where he just kind of realizes that he took it way too far. And just the way he acts throughout the rest of the movie, just very depressed, and he's just wanting to find his daughter. I liked the prince. I thought he was charming enough. He's definitely not... He's got more character than, like, the Cinderella prince. And we'll get to him in a sec. But for me, Ariel is the biggest problem of the movie. Because I do not like her. It's like, let's compare her to a previously talked about Princess Cinderella. Cinderella is a character in a very shitty situation. Yes. But she does not let that shitty situation break her until it reaches that apex. Until it reaches that point where nobody could keep a straight face. Like, nobody could not be broken by something like that. Like that moment of desperation. But despite that, she is still an incredibly strong character who she works through the pain and she works to get what she wants and she gets it by the end. As opposed to Ariel, who I feel like they kind of try to do a similar thing where it's like, she doesn't make this, like, decision. It's kind of like an inverse of Cinderella, where it's like she gets to a moment of desperation and a fairy godmother helps her. In this case, it is she gets to a moment of desperation and the Wicked Witch helps her for a price. And which is kind of a cool and full your voice. I do think that is kind of an interesting inversion, but unlike Cinderella, I don't feel like that moment is earned because she is not in a bad position. She is the princess, like she is the princess of all mermaids and mermen and what have you.
She's princess of... I think she's the youngest of, like, several daughters. But
she is a princess of the ocean. She is beloved by many for her amazing voice. But yet, I want more. It is that kind of joke about Disney princesses not being satisfied with their status quo, which, for the most part, I never found to be an issue with these princesses. Like, for example,
like Cinderella.
Like Cinderella, Belle. Sleeping Beauty doesn't really have that because she's not really a character. Jasmine kind of does, but you kind of understand Jasmine a little more, and we'll get to Jasmine, of course. But Ariel is like, you're in this position because you're horny. You saw a dude on a ship, and you already have a human thing going. You already have kind of a thing for humans. And you see this guy, and you save him, and he's really cute. But your darn father just doesn't understand. And so, yeah, in her moment of desperation, which, yeah, that's not a great scene. It's basically watching your dad come into your room and rip off all your posters and break all your shit. Not a great moment. But so then she goes to the Sea Witch, who has enough of a reputation that Ariel knows this is a really bad fucking idea. And yeah, Ursula's like, tries to spin it. She's like, oh, I'm not nearly as nasty as everyone says. I'm good now. All I need for you is your voice.
When they called me a little witch, but you find it nowadays.
And of course, if you don't agree to the terms of my contract, I keep you forever. I keep your soul.
I mean, it happened once or twice. Someone couldn't pay the price. price for it.
As we see the rows and
I
rows
fucking
of people.
love
I was like,
that
no,
image.
she saw that shit. And I'm like, Ariel, you're a dumb bitch. I don't buy this as like her moment of desperation where it's like, no, she's got to make this change, you know, and it's like, I don't care about that. Like, or I guess I buy that she would do it. I don't care about the kind of character who would do that.
Okay.
Because no. It's kind of like when we were talking about Shrek 4, where it's like, Shrek is not the kind of character who would make this contract. Ariel, I believe, would, and that's my problem with her, is like, you are risking a lot on this. This is not a very well thought out decision. Now, in the original fairy tale, this gamble does not pay off whatsoever. And there's a reason for that.
But I could be wrong, but I think in the original, the Sea Witch isn't actively trying to fuck with her either. It's just like, no, it's like, this is
the price of your hubris.
Yeah, this is the price. Like, if you want it, this is it. Like, no bullshit.
Well, I mean, like, her fate in the end of the original story is the price of her hubris. Which was kind of the point of the original fairy tale, but we can't have bad endings in a Disney movie. So, we gotta change the fairy tale around without actually, like, understanding why that story is the way it is. Besides Hans Christian Andersen being kind of a dick. He doesn't write a lot of happy stories.
No. Baby.
And so then the rest of the story is her without her voice trying to make this guy fall in love with her, which is a very interesting concept. You know, and I do agree she is working towards it. She is trying her best. And the witch is actively fucking with it, which is why it doesn't necessarily work. But, and then in the end, it's like Ursula, like, she takes over and she's like, I've got King Triton's Triton, I'm a god now. And then, like, the prince, like, fucking skewers her with the boat. And Ariel does fucking, like, almost nothing in the climax. Like, she gets kidnapped, then the one thing she tries to do is she, like, grabs Ursula while she's about to blast the prince, and that kills her little poopsies. And that's literally it. She does nothing. As opposed to Cinderella, who is, like, actively working to free herself from her room. She requires help from the mice, but she is actively working to free herself. You know, and a lot of Disney princesses actively work in the climax. She doesn't. And in the end, she gets everything she wanted. With no repercussions for her stupidity. And for me, that is the big problem here, is you have made a bunch of really bad decisions in this movie, and you have not been punished for any of them. You get exactly what you want. Happy ending. For me, that has never sit well with me. And it's like, there is a reason why she fucking dies in the book. Because that is the price of her dumb decisions. That is the price of her hubris. I mean, you can't obviously have her die in a Disney movie because all the kids are going to be like, oh, Bumby's mom. You know, you can't have them do that. But you could have worked it around to make her a better character. I feel she is the weakest part of the movie. Now, the animation and the sound are both so top-notch that I could not possibly give this anything lower than a B. But it is by no means my favorite Renaissance movie. It's probably my least favorite, for that matter alone. Well, actually,
like,
no, there's Pocahontas.
More than,
Never
like,
mind.
Pocahontas or The Rescuers Down Under.
No, that's a fair point. That's a fair point. Now, I don't like Ariel. It's like, if she was a better written character, this would be an S-tier movie. And so she does drop down. It does drop it down to a B for me. But what do you think? I know you're very different.
So here's what's funny to me. What's funny to me is how, like, 2 to 3 movies ago, you're like, all right, Black Cauldron, this is the hardest we are gonna disagree. And then we get to the one where we disagree on. This is an S-tier movie for me. This is one of my favorites. Like, I can make an argument for The Little Mermaid being my favorite. It is not in my top 10. It's like, I think it's just outside it. It's like number 11, 12 or so.
That just shows how many S-tier movies you have.
Yeah, like, we're going to just start fucking hitting them, man. So, I think I should go and piggyback off the things you said that I agree with. I think that's one of my favorite soundtracks. I think Ariel's songs, Part of Your World, and then the reprise, like, right after she saves Eric, are fucking beautiful. Poor Unfortunate Souls. I don't think I can say it's my favorite villain song, but it's the one I quote the most. I love this song. Under the Sea is the most iconic song from the movie, either that or Part of Your World, and it's also really fucking good, and it's like, I don't even know if I would say it's my favorite, because those other two were so good. Like, Poisson is funny as fuck. I really like Kiss the Girl. It's got a really good vibe to it. I've heard a Jonathan Young cover of that song that I fucking adore. I don't think you really said much about Sebastian. Maybe you didn't. I didn't quite catch it. I
didn't bring up Sebastian.
I freaking love Sebastian. Just the most sane person at all times throughout the movie, just doing his best. Like, oh yeah, I really like Sebastian. Flounder's kind of a nothing burger. I won't say too much about him. Scuttle, I feel like we have 3 Gurgies in the movie. There's Scuttle, and then there's Flotsam and Jetsam, the poopsies. Flotsam and Jetsam, I really like them. I like how creepy they are. I love how they are just Ursula's droogs. And how Ursula genuinely cares about them. Like, when she does accidentally blast them with the trident, she is heartbroken. And it's a minor thing to humanize her, but it works. And then even during the song where she's, trying to coerce Ariel, and she's like, Flotsam, Jetsam, oh my god, her boys. Like, guys, this is so fucking cool. Like, I love you guys. I love that you guys brought her here. Yes, you guys got fucking A+ for y'all. Scuttle is the other Gurgie. Scuttle makes me laugh so hard, man. I love how stupid he is. Hey, Scuttle, what's this? Brings a fork. There's, let me think. Let me see if I can remember. Oh, I remember now. That's the Dingle Hopper. They use this to, style their hair. Like, oh my gosh, he's so dumb. This is making me laugh.
I found him super annoying. I'm not gonna lie.
I get it. But I freaking love him. I love when all the birds are singing and Kiss the Girl and Scuttle joins along. And his voice is terrible, so they all start strangling him to get him to stop because he's ruining the moment. Oh, it's great. I'm gonna keep saying things like it's good or it's great after probably every point I make because I love this movie. I love King Triton. To me, I think he's a more sympathetic version of Stoic from How to Train Your Dragon. Because I think Stoic, when he disowns his son, takes it, like, that is the step too far. And Stoic knows it. Like, I love the scene right after where he has that look on his face, like, I can't believe I just fucking did that. I am heartbroken that I did that. I know I can't take that back. But I have to keep going. Stoic walks a very fine line between being understandable and just being a piece of shit. And I do still like him, but I fully understand why people would say, no, he's just an abusive fuck. I can't say that for Triton. I feel like this is a man who is doing his best at all times, but he does let his emotions get the best of him. And that scene where he destroys all of Ariel's shit as she is begging him not to. And, he sees the thing of Eric, is about to blast it, she's trying to stop him, and she can't, and then it's all gone. And she yells at him, calls him a piece of shit, goes off.
Quote from Little Mermaid, you piece of shit.
And then he's just... And the way he just covers his face, it just says everything you need to know about this character. I love it.
Yeah.
Now let's get to Ariel.
Oh boy, here we go.
I don't think I can say she's my favorite Disney princess. Because Mulan is considered a Disney princess, which I think is stupid because at no point does she ever become a princess. It makes no sense to me. It actively bothers me that she's in the Disney princess lineup. You're like, you're not a princess. It doesn't make any sense. But, since she is, Mulan is my favorite Disney princess. Ariel is probably second. Maybe.
Oh boy.
And it's like, maybe. I really like Jasmine. I really like most of the princesses. Just kind of except Aurora because there's nothing to her. I feel like when you say Ariel makes her decisions because she's horny, you are heavily mischaracterizing her. And again, that could just be your opinion.
That
could
was
just
also
be you
me
memeing a little bit.
That was me memeing
which
a little
is
bit.
fair,
I understand.
But to me, Ariel's character is all about wonder and adventure. Less adventure, it's like wonder and excitement about learning new things. And just that lust for knowledge. I think humans are so fucking cool because they're so different. They have these weird feet things that I've never seen before. None of us have that. How does this work? They have these big, furry, fluffy pets. I've never seen one of those before. Like, I've seen all kinds of crazy shit in the ocean. It's cool. But what is that thing? Just looking at his dog. Looking at the ship like, yo, I've seen one of these before. They always have such cool, unique things in them that we don't have. I love these things. And I've got this friend of mine who knows what they are. So whenever I see a new thing, I've got to go ask Scuttle, yo, what is this thing? What does it do? And when she sees a fork, believing it is a dingle hopper, and starts styling her hair with it, smiling at everybody, knowing like, guys, I got this. I know what this is. And they all look at her like she's insane. It is so funny, and it's so endearing. And I feel like when she is with Eric, when she can't talk and is trying to get him to love her, to me, aside from like the kiss the girl scene, it kind of feels less of, okay, this is my chance, Ariel, remember what the witch said, I've got my looks, my pretty face, and don't underestimate the importance of body language. She is not trying to actively seduce him, she's just enjoying the moment, like, dude, what is this thing that you're driving? Can I do that? Oh my god, this is so fun. This is so fun. And that's what I love about her character. It is that consistent sense of joy and wonderment. And that's why when Ariel's saying, like, I want, like, yeah, I've got all this cool shit. Like, I'm the princess of the ocean. But it's just not what I care about. I want to learn things. I want to experience what this is. Because it's new and it's so cool to look at. I want to know what it would be like to be on land, to experience feet, to experience fire, to pet a dog. Because they are things I just can't have in the ocean. I really like that. I really vibe with that. And the scene where her dad thoroughly rejects it and destroys everything she's collected up to that point. I get why she's so mad at him. Like, if you had, like, you got a big game collection going on right now. Like, if your mom came and just took a sledgehammer and broke all your shit, you'd be pretty mad. Like, if my parents, like, broke all my games, like, burned all my Pokemon cards or smashed all my figures, I would be pissed.
You'd be on the news the next day.
Off. I get it. What really sells it for me, though, it's not just that she's really upset and she goes, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna go see the Sea Witch. It's that Flotsam and Jetsam come to her.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it is in that moment.
It is that.
It is that moment of weakness. She is seduced to the dark side. Which to me makes it a lot more believable, a lot more palatable. And it's also the fact that the person really trying to talk her out of it, because Flounder is Sebastian. The person that led Triton to her place. And you're like, no, this is a bad idea, this is a bad idea. Oh, you think so?
Fuck off.
Why don't you go tell my father about it? That's what you always tend to do anyways. You're like, I get that spite. I feel that spite. Yeah.
Delicious.
Yeah. Oh, man. This movie's really good. It was like, I think Ariel, for me, works really well. I get why people don't like her. I see
it just
what
doesn't.
like,
she just doesn't click with me.
I see why. I was saying this with Cinderella too. Like, I feel like Cinderella, a lot of people look at it as like she's super anti-feminist, and the same with Ariel. It's like all she does is like go to get a man, and You know, why can't she just kiss the man? Like, yo, like what, like the stupid gender roles and shit. And I'm like, no,
I don't even think that.
Yeah, because I think that makes a lot of sense. And, like, in terms of the spell and everything, it's like, no. He has to kiss you because you could just.
It can't just be any kiss.
Yeah, it's like you can throw yourself on top of him at any time and kiss him, but he has to be the one to initiate it because that means he likes you and not the other way around. That makes a lot of sense to me. I know a lot of people see her as just spoiled and annoying, but I just don't like. I see it. I can
see where I'm coming from.
Yes, I see where you're coming from, but I hard disagree. I know you're not gonna put it in S, and that's fine. This is an A tier movie.
So let's get to an S tier movie.
Yeah, so the next one would have been Rescuers Down Under, but we talked about that one since we did Rescuers. Now we can talk about Beauty and the Beast.
So we're just going to go ahead and skip that whole bullshit about talking about. We're just going to put that right here. Holy fucking shit. Is this a perfect movie? I love everything about it.
There's a reason out of all of these movies, only one of them has been nominated for Best Picture. It's this one.
Just holy crap. God damn, like we've had a few S tier movies on this list so far. To me, but the thing is that a lot of these movies, it's like you could possibly make an argument for it being maybe a little lower, maybe not quite being. This is a hard S. It's kind of
this
like
is a capital S.
It's kind of like with Sword in the Stone. It's like that is a hard F. Like, we couldn't even argue. We couldn't even be... Even on a nice day, we couldn't put it in D tier.
Alright, I'd like just taken a drink of water. Like, it's a hard F. I almost spat it out laughing.
Beauty and the Beast is a hard S. It deserves to be nowhere else but here. Except for perhaps the top spot. Which, unfortunately, it is not my favorite Disney movie. But it is such a strong contender. I feel like it is one of the few that really challenges my top tier movie. Everything about it is perfect. The animation is beautiful. The characters are all well written. The plot is well done. It's well paced. Its music is fucking astounding. Like, Be Our Guest is... Like, I know we talked about this in the last video about Disney flexing. I mean, Disney can't flex no more. Because he's, you know, like, his head is under Disneyland in storage. I don't know where the rest of them is, though. But... You okay?
Sorry. When you're like, I don't know where the rest of them is. I was like, oh, they're all the corpse parts from fucking Steel Ball Run.
Oh my God.
It's just Walt Disney. Jesus.
Walt Disney's stand is When You Wish Upon a Star, isn't it?
You know, it probably is, actually. That would make a lot of sense.
But anyways, everything about this movie is perfect. Friend Like Me. No, that's different.
No, that's the next movie.
But Be Our Guest.
Next, right?
Aladdin is next. Be Our Guest is such a marvel to look at, just because of the sheer amount of detail and the choreography and the artistry. It's so much fun. There was a reason why that song was like, that was the trailer for the movie.
Yeah, it really
Because I remember, if I remember correctly, a lot of the trailers for the Renaissance movies it's just a song from the movie. And it's just like, it's the song from the movie, and then it's like, the title of the movie.
Like, Circle
Go
of
watch
Life.
it. Yeah, go watch it, assholes. Yeah, Be Our Guest is so good. The song at the beginning with Belle, that's so good. Both of Gaston's songs are really good, because he gets 2 songs, really.
You know.
You know, Tale as Old as Time. I grew up watching Murder, She Wrote with Angela Lansbury, and she is just such a nice person. Like, she is just such a pleasant individual to watch. And, yeah, her singing voice is really good. And apparently she did it in 1 take, and that was all that was needed, which is really impressive. It's just perfect. It really is.
Sure, I'm watching my cat try to climb up on the clay windows.
He's not quite sure how to do this.
He seems a little confused.
It's alright, buddy.
He's a little confused when you got the spirit.
And it's perfection. It is a perfect movie. And I know I say that I only put movies in S tier if I think they are perfect. Sometimes I kind of have some wiggle room there where it's like there might be like one or two like niggling little flaws that perhaps makes it not literally perfect, but it's practically perfect in every way. This movie is perfect. It is flawless. I assume you think the same.
I go very back and forth on where this places in my personal rankings. Because it's either like my 5th favorite or my 6th favorite. That's really all there is to say. It's like, that's the most contentious thing I have. It's the other movie there I'll spoil is The Lion King. It's like, do I like this a little more than The Lion King? Do I like this a little less than The Lion King? It's better than almost every other movie. At this point, Jungle Book is still my double S. It's not, it won't be by the end, but like, this is the point where I'm like, Jungle Book is really getting some contenders. Gosh, I love this movie. I think it looks gorgeous. I think the kid, I don't have anything to say that you didn't just say, which I don't think you really talk about how funny Gaston is. Let me just say Gaston is hysterical.
Who does she
also
think
just
she
an
is?
Awful person. I love the contrast of that. It's like, here's this gorgeous looking specimen of a man who is horrible, and then, you know, the literal beast who has his problems. But there just might be something there that wasn't there before. Okay, no, here's what I have to say. When I was taking my shower this morning, I was thinking about the live action version of why I fucking hate it. And I can explain why I hate it by comparing 2 scenes. The library scene.
I know what you're talking about. You've talked to me about this before.
Yes, because it pisses me off. So in this movie, as they are going through their song about how their relationship is progressing, and are starting to see each other as less of a beast and less of just a captive, and, oh god,
Oh, it's okay, man. That movie can't hurt you anymore.
The beast says,
until we do our live-action marathon. Oh, I felt the aggression. I was a little afraid he was about to smack me.
No, it wasn't aggression, it was terror. Like, I felt like I just had a vision of the entire universe collapsing at that suggestion. I would rather do Illumination. Bold words, Chichen. Beast says, I want to do something for her. I don't know what it is, but I want to do something because I care. And Lumiere goes, wait a second, I have an idea. And then I cuts the library because, you know, she talked about earlier how much she loves books. So the Beast says, like, alright, close your eyes. I got a surprise. Takes her into the library. She opens her eyes and she's so excited, like she's breathless. And Beast sees her and how happy she is. And it's infectious. Like, he's just smiling. Like, you've never in the entire movie seen him look this happy. He's like, you love it? Then it's yours. I want you to be happy. I know you're like my captive and shit, but I want to do what I can to make you smile because of how you make me smile. And it's wonderful. In the other version, they're having an argument about books and Shakespeare and shit. And then he's like, oh, you think you know how to fucking read? Let me just wave my dick around and show you how big my vast knowledge of shit is.
You fucking peasant.
Yeah, and he kicks open the door of the library like, here, you want to read so much? Read these. Become an intelligent person. Like me. Like, you know what? He's acting like Gaston. And Gaston in the movie, until a certain point, is way more likable. And I'm like, do you guys understand the fucking point of Beauty and the Beast?
It's like I actually thought Gaston being a little bit more personable was an interesting choice because it's like he's not nearly as boorish as he is in the animated version. Like, he is actively trying because he genuinely likes Belle. He doesn't just think of her as a trophy wife.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that could actually be kind of something interesting. And then, like, in just one scene, he just fucking 180s and turns into a psycho, and it's like.
And then it also has the Cody problem from Emperor... I almost said Emperor's New Groove, and I don't fucking know why. From Rescuers Down Under, where... I guess I'm getting a little out of myself. Where Maurice is like, Gaston, I would never let her marry you. You're an awful fucking person. And again, at this point, Gaston has not been an awful person at all. He actively like, Maurice, I want to help you find your daughter. Maurice just starts talking shit to him, and is like, yeah, blah, 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 you're an awful person. Now shut up and help me keep looking for my daughter that, again, I will never let you marry. And after I have just called you a moron and all this shit to your face, I know you will do nothing.
I will now turn my back around.
Yeah, you're
and
like,
expect you to not do
oh my
anything
god,
to me.
like I loathe that movie. It's so terrible. And I just look at this and I'm like, how?
How did you fuck this
up? It doesn't make any sense. Like
it wasn't going to destroy our child.
Like it wasn't going to be better, but wow, this is so ass. So let's talk about Aladdin. The movie that dethroned Jungle Book.
The movie that dethroned Jungle Book. Again, we're just gonna go ahead and just put that right there where it belongs. Again, perfection. Just another perfect movie. Holy fucking shit. I love everything in this movie. And yeah, kind of like the same with Beauty and the Beast. Animation, perfection. Music, perfection. As Robin Williams as the genie, perfection.
Yeah, Genie has an argument for being my favorite character in any of these movies.
Friend Like Me might be my favorite song in the entire Disney canon.
It has that argument too. Like, I feel like it is the one song that for me really puts up a fight with Bare Necessities.
It's also like it's like the one thing they did right in the live action remake, which the Aladdin live action remake is it's not one of the really bad ones like Beauty and the Beast. It's not great. It's good, but I think the Friend Like Me scene in that one is actually really well done. But here it's just such a blast. I remember watching it. I had the biggest smile on my face the entire time watching it. It is so fun to watch.
Like, I had started watching it, like, the movie feels like you're watching just a Vegas show. Or almost like a Bollywood movie. Like, with just all, like, the choreography, all the bounciness. It's so fucking fun to watch.
I really like the characters. I like Aladdin. I like that, he is a flawed protagonist. He has his issues. I like Jasmine. I don't think she's my favorite Disney princess, but I feel like she kind of does the whole I want more thing better than Ariel. For me personally.
I feel like that's what you're about to say. Like, for you, she's Ariel done right.
She is, because despite being the princess, despite being in a very good position, you understand... You get a better understanding why she is the way she is. She's like, I am being forced to marry someone at some point, and everything I have seen so far, I know that I will be unhappy, and I will be trapped in this palace for the rest of my life, and I never get to see the world that I want to see. And that's what makes It's a Whole New World such a great scene, because Aladdin fulfills her wish. He's like, yeah, you want to get out of here? I can show you the world. Shining, shimmering, splendid. And it's so magnificently well done. And yeah, unlike Ariel, she is actively participating in the climax, like that scene where she starts seducing Jafar to distract him. She's like, I never noticed how handsome you are. Keep talking about me. And
your beard is so twisted.
And speaking of Jafar... Again, this is the Renaissance, so, like, every villain's gonna be a banger with, like, a couple exceptions. But Jafar, I think, might be my favorite Disney villain, just because he is so funny. And
Iago, like, you guys are gonna both together.
Jafar, I'm dying to shut up. It's like, you know what they say about the golden rule. The one with the gold makes the rules. With the fucking weird ass smile. Yes, your
You can
reward.
smell his breath through the screen.
Your eternal reward, which is a great knife in TF2, by the way. He's just so good, and I love the way it's resolved at the end. Is that his own hubris is his downfall? It's like, yeah, you're powerful. You're not all powerful. The genie gave you your power. He can take it away. He's like, you're right. Genie, for my third wish, I wish to be an all-powerful genie.
I don't want to keep quoting
and it's like, yeah, you wanted to be a genie? You got it. And everything that goes with it. And it's like, oh, that's so beautiful. That's so well done.
not just Jafar's hubris, but his Aladdin's cleverness, because that is just what he is the entire movie. He is a clever fucking street rat, and it is what bails him out in the end. It is not just, I relied upon the genie, I relied upon myself being able to fuck with this guy.
And I always love those kind of main characters, like the really guile kind of main characters. It's a perfect movie. I assume you agree.
Yeah, I mean,
it's where it belongs, right?
Like
here,
I said,
for now.
At this point, this is my favorite movie in the marathon. There's only 2 movies I have above Aladdin. It's so good. It's so fun. I love the Prince Ali scene.
Prince Ali. It makes me kind of want to watch the movie again, honestly.
Like, it's such a fun movie. There's so much energy. I feel like your leads, Aladdin and Jasmine, are really fun. Your villains are so consistently funny.
Oh, there's a big surprise. I think I'm gonna have a heart attack and die from that surprise.
I love quoting that.
Or like that scene at the beginning with the guards where like Abu's got the sword. He's like, he's got a sword! You idiots! We've all got swords!
The Sultan is so dumb.
The Sultan is dumb, but I like that
he's funny.
He is really funny, and I like that he is a genuinely like nice person.
Like he's a loving.
Because he's like the reason I am putting her through this is because it's tradition. I know it's making her unhappy, but I feel like this is what we need to do.
It's a little more than that, though, because he says it's not. He even says like it's not just this law. He's like, I know I'm not going to be around forever, and I know I want to make sure that you're taken care of by the time I'm gone.
And then by the end, he's like, you know what? You genuinely love this person. He has proven he can take care of you. I'm changing the law.
And like, it's fucking great.
And then it takes them 2 more movies for them to finally get married.
And the genie.
It's
the genie's like arguably the best character.
I think I cried when he left because just it's Robin Williams, and it's like I remember when he died and we saw that image of like Genie, you're free. And it's like it's actually getting me a little emotional, honestly. Fuck, I want to watch the movie again. All right, the big one.
The Lion King. Yeah, I see fucking Pride Rock.
It's the big one. Hey, bud. Hi, buddy. You want to go outside?
You want to talk about cats? You want to talk about the big cat movie?
Oh, he does not like that. Nope.
No, he wants to go.
Bye-bye, buddy.
Bye, bub.
So I feel like everyone has that one Disney movie growing up that they were obsessed with. That this is their childhood in a nutshell. For me, it was The Lion King. The Lion King came out, I think, a month after I was born. Or it came out very soon afterwards. I remember my Nana, who's my grandma and my mom on my dad's side, she had the VHS of it, and fortunately I've lost that VHS. I don't know where it is. But I watched that movie so much growing up. It drove my parents insane. And it's The Lion King. But having grown up, I do notice that it is not the perfect movie that I thought it was growing up. I do think that the first act and the third act are 10 out of 10. It is the exact same quality as the previous 2 movies. But
Hakuna Matata.
But Hakuna Matata, I feel like the second act is weaker. It just doesn't quite gel as well with me as it does the other parts. And it also feels very aimless, which, as we discussed when we watched the movie,
I feel like
that's the point, because Simba is very aimless at this point. It is very laid back, lazy, but it is also kind of running away from the main issue, which in a way is very brilliant, but it does make watching it slightly less enjoyable than the rest of the movie. But it's an S-tier movie.
Oh. Because I know we had that conversation not too long ago, and you're like, no, I don't think I can put it in S because the second act is so weak.
But thinking about it more, I do think that, that is kind of what they were going for. And also the nostalgia I have for the movie and the respect I have for the movie. I feel like I am giving it an honorary S rank. Because holy shit, this movie. it's that good shit. So what do you think?
Well, I'm glad you saved me some time. Because I was going to argue for it being an S-tier movie because how the second act, like, it is a perfect reflection of Simba's just mental and emotional state. And while that, agreed, doesn't make it as enjoyable as the first or the third act, it's still incredibly important and it works on a great level. So thank you for making my argument for me. There's so much gravitas to this movie. Like,
It
just
feels important.
It does, and that's what I love about it. And I feel like that's why the second act is weird, because it loses all of that importance and that gravitas, like, until Simba starts talking to Rafiki and sees his reflection as Mufasa and shit, which is beautiful and gorgeous. The movie looks incredible. The songs are so good. The score is so good. I love the hyenas. I think they're hilarious. They are the Gurgies of the movie, and they're fantastic.
Especially
Gurgies.
Ed.
Especially Ed.
What do you think, Ed?
Ed. Just that part at the end.
No, you don't
Gosh,
understand.
like, oh man.
Yeah, I didn't even talk about Scar because I was too busy gushing about it, but
is he the best Disney villain? I have to, like, think about, like, I don't know who I would give that to, but it might be Scar. And the reason I have to really think about Scar is because he wins. It's not even like
it's like
Ursula.
Kefka in Final Fantasy
Yeah, it's
VI.
not like Ursula who's like, yeah, she won for like 2 seconds and then was defeated. He was king for years. He got what he wanted. He was terrible at, like, it reminds me a lot of, like, you said Kefka. It also makes me think a lot of Ganon from Ocarina of Time. This is like, I remember when I finally played Ocarina of Time, I was like, what the fuck? This is just the Lion King now. Scar won. Everything went to shit.
Just as soon as you leave the Temple of Time and you just see the black sky and
Yeah.
those zombies in the town, it's like,
oh.
and then you climbing up the tower and you hear the organ getting louder. It's like, oh, Ocarina of Time's such a good fucking game.
But I like Simba a lot. I grew up loving Timon and Pumbaa. Rewatching it, they just didn't hit the same way that they did. Nala is not a Disney princess. She's not in the line. But if she was, she might be my favorite.
Well, you can't really sell, like, dresses for her, can you?
Not really. But, like, I really like Nala. I love the fact that, like, yes, I love that she is Simba's partner in crime in the first third of the movie. And, like, yeah, they're both kind of terrible influences on each other, which I find really endearing. But I love that she's like, yeah, I want to find help. I knew our situation was dire, so I wanted to do whatever I fucking could. And I found you. Why are you, like, deflecting your responsibility? I love it. The line exchange of, you're beginning to sound like my father. Good. At least one of us does. Like, like,
Damn.
and then you just see Simba's reaction to it, like, that hurt him. That cut deep. Just every scene with Mufasa. Another line I love quoting, even if I don't always say it out loud, I'll quote it to myself. Before sunrise, he's your son. Like I said, I kind of go back and forth with Beauty and the Beast. Like, which one of them is my number 5 after, like, Jungle Book, Aladdin, and then, you know, the other 2 movies? They're both fucking great. It's the fucking Lion King. This isn't, like, you said the movie, like, you always grew up with, like, your Renaissance movie. For me, it's not the Lion King. That would be Hercules. I've seen that movie so fucking many times, but Hercules is not next. I believe that would be Pocahontas.
Pocahontas. I apologize. But I did less damage to Pocahontas' name than this movie did. Oh! Yeah, okay. I'm usually a stickler for movies based on historical, like, events. And Disney has a really bad habit of embellishing things. Now, again, this is an animated movie. I get it. But, god damn, this gets a lot wrong. Although, I guess one of the big changes that I'm glad they did is that Pocahontas is a woman and not, like, 12. Because she still married that guy when she was like 13, and that was definitely not a great...
Yeah, but that guy's not in this movie.
He's not in this movie.
You don't get John Rolfe until Pocahontas 2.
We don't talk about Pocahontas 2. Well, we had to hit this at some point. So we had Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, and The Lion King. The big three, the big chunguses of the, like, they are the Renaissance movies of the Renaissance. Like,
I would say Little Mermaid as well.
Little Mermaid as well, but it's like, I mean, the streak had to end sometime. Unfortunately.
I'm trying to think of when that happened for Pixar. It kind of is Cars. I really like Cars because of how funny it is.
It doesn't have quite the same impact as the previous
it's
movies.
like, it's still really fun and enjoyable. It's not quite as good. I think the streak officially ended to Cars 2.
So, yeah. Pocahontas is not a great movie. I hesitate to even call it a good movie. It has good elements in it. I think the songs are really good. Like Colors of the Wind, the sea shanty they're singing at the very beginning of the movie really sets the tone. Savages is a good song.
I have to give a shout out to Ratliff's song because of just how funny it is.
Yeah. Ratliff is probably the weakest.
Is it Ratliff or Ratcliffe? I don't know if there's a C in there. I'm gonna check it.
I feel like Ratcliffe, or what have you, is probably the weakest Renaissance villain. Because I feel like the only real contender for that list is, like...
Shan Yu? But he has so much presence
I don't even...
and shit.
No,
I
wouldn't even put Shan Yu... I wouldn't even put Shan Yu there. I would say Clayton as one of the weaker villains. Because they're both motivated by just material greed, as opposed to other characters who have other motivations. It's like Gaston wants to get the girl... Jafar wants...
there is a C. It is Ratcliffe.
Okay, Ratcliffe. It's like they are just purely about material greed. Not even like power like Jafar or Scar. And it makes them a lot less interesting. Especially because it does make a lot of their actions... doesn't quite hold the same weight. And when we get to Atlantis, we'll talk about that. Because I feel like we're going to have a bit of a bigger discussion about that when we get to Atlantis. Or at least I want to. Ratcliffe is not a great villain. I do like Pocahontas and John. I do think they are interesting characters. They do kind of work off each other. But it doesn't quite work for me. I do have to say, I think the movie looks beautiful. I feel like I want to say it's like a watercolor almost kind of style. Especially Colors of the Wind. Colors of the Wind goes very hard into that very watercolor style. I think the art style is pretty good. It just doesn't quite work for me. Gross historical inaccuracies aside, it just doesn't quite gel right. I feel like for me, it is a B-tier movie at most. I don't quite think it's bad enough to be a C-tier movie, but it is a big step down from the last 3 movies we've seen. What do you think?
Music or movie looked good, movie sound good. I just didn't get into it. I remember this movie doesn't have a climax.
Savages?
See, that's the thing, though. Savages, that is the climax of the movie, but what is the song about? It is them preparing for a conflict, not the actual conflict itself. It's like if Be Prepared was the climax of The Lion King, but then nothing really came of it.
Well, I mean, because that was kind of the whole point, is them stopping the conflict.
Yes,
okay.
But it feels so weak. Like, okay, like, we're setting up, like, alright, we hate them, we're going to fight, and then, like, nothing really happens in the fight. Like, it's almost stopped too quickly. Like, nothing fucking exciting has happened this entire movie.
Like, if you look at a 3-act structure, Savages would be the song at the end of the 2nd act that would prepare you for the third act.
And then there's, like, no 3rd act. It's weird. Like, I get what they're doing. It just didn't work for me. Like, do I hate these people? No. But do I particularly like them? No. Do I think Ratcliffe is funny? Yes, but he's not Jafar funny. That part was really good.
What is the line? It's like, it's cold.
Or it's like, how are we gonna stop them? That's what guns are for. But I don't think he's nearly as funny as Jafar. It might be because he's not nearly as threatening as Jafar.
Because Jafar is funny, but he is also a legitimately threatening.
Like, I take the other villains here very seriously because of the genuine threat level or power they have over the protagonists. Ratcliffe has no power over John Smith. John Smith is, like, openly defying him throughout most of the movie. He has no real power over Pocahontas because they never fucking interact. It's like going in the Chimera Ant King from Hunter x Hunter. They never interact in the entire arc. Cocoam, I think that was his name. Like
he's a douchebag.
Yeah, and it's like the whole reason all of this really starts, like there was kind of like minor conflicts and shit, is because John Smith kills him. The reason John Smith kills him is because it's because he saw John Smith and Pocahontas getting close and went, "That's my girl," who doesn't even like him. It just makes him look like a massive piece of shit. And like, I feel no sympathy for you at all, buddy. This was all your fault. And it's just, to me, it's just kind of boring unless a song is happening, because I really like the songs. But I don't even think I can put it in B tier. I think for me, it is just a C tier movie. It's just kind of weak.
Damn, we're tied in S and C again. Renaissance weren't able to, but it's okay, because the next movie is The Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Put it in S. Like, just do it. Oh, man. Now, I will go ahead and say, the big weakness of the movie, aside from, you know, heavily diluting a massive novel, which I've never read, but I've heard it's fantastic. So, like, aside from that kind of shit.
Yeah, they kind of had to, because I think it's like, it's almost like Les Mis length of just being absurdly long. It's also kind of a boring book, because it is mostly about the history of France and the history of Notre Dame itself. Like, it is called... It's not called The Hunchback of Notre Dame. It is called Notre Dame de Paris, because it is about the church. And like the Hunchback of Notre Dame story is happening throughout it, but having read it, it almost feels like almost a sideshow almost, because man, this guy loved this fucking church.
So, the biggest problem I would say with the movie, which I feel like is what most people say, are the gargoyles. They are Gurgies, and I don't think, like, rewatching it, I don't think they're nearly as annoying as I did, like, the other recent time I saw it. I think they are endearing. They do add the levity that the movie sorely needs, because holy fuck.
Otherwise, this would be dark as fuck, man.
But, my brain stopped for a second.
It's the ending.
The fact that the movie feels stronger if you imagine they are just in Quasimodo's head. Like, this is...
Because that's kind of what it was building up.
That's what it was building up. Because, like, whenever anyone else would walk into a room, they were just stone. And then at the end of the movie, like, okay, they're actively helping out in the climax, so they are real, which I feel like makes it a little less interesting. To me, that is the biggest weakness of the movie, and after checking my invisible imaginary notes, that is the only weakness of the movie. It looks great. It sounds great. Quasi is such a likable fucking character.
Really
I just want this man to be happy. And apparently that's what the entire sequel is about that I've never seen, is just, let's just give him a happy ending because we feel bad for him.
I mean, to be fair, this movie gave him a happier ending than the original book.
It did, because I know how the book ends. I love Esmeralda. Again, another character, like, she is not a Disney princess, because
she might as well be.
Well, because I don't think she gets enough, like, merch to be... Again, it's one of those, like, if you can make Mulan a Disney princess, you can make Esmeralda a Disney princess. And I love this character. God Help the Outcast is arguably my favorite song in the movie, which I feel like I'm going to say a lot when I talk about songs in this movie, because it might have my favorite soundtrack of any Disney movie.
I feel like it is so consistent. Like, okay, the opening with the fucking choir and the church bells.
It's so good. And it's like, here's the backstory, and
it
it's
is
so
majestic. I think that's the word for it. It is majestic. It's like you said, Lion King has this gravitas, this importance. Hunchback has majesty, and just the reverence for Notre Dame and the culture behind it, kind of like with the book. And you can feel the majesty of the church. Mm-hmm. You know, it's just that sight where you see nothing but clouds, and the top of the church, you hearing the bells ring. The bells of Notre.
And then, like, at the end of the song, he hits the highest note I've ever heard in my life.
And he holds it for so long.
Yeah,
it's
like that's
damn.
impressive as hell, man.
God Helps the Outcast. I know I said Friend Like Me is my favorite song in the Disney canon, but that actually makes a contender for being my favorite.
Yes, 100%
it is so beautiful. It is so heartfelt. I actually think I cried a little hearing it.
Phoebus is funny. And
Phoebus
like,
is funny.
I like Phoebus. From what I understand, he's very different than he is.
He is such a bastard in the book.
And then here, like, he's a very, like he has that O'Malley feel of, like, the dude who kind of knows what's going on. It has enough street smarts and street sense, whilst having a very genuine conscience that just gets stronger as the movie goes on because Frollo was such a bastard. So speaking of which, probably the best antagonist in the entire marathon is Frollo. He has the best villain song. I love Poor Unfortunate Souls. I love Be Prepared. Like, they're so good. Hellfire is impeccable. The way it looks, the way it sounds, the, like, deep, complex themes of dealing with your own, like, immortal soul and dealing with your sin and temptation, like, is my lust strong enough to damn me forever? I don't know, and it scares me. It is the only time in the entire movie, I don't want to say you feel anything for Frollo, because no, still fuck this guy, but it genuinely humanizes him, and you see the fucking terror as he's singing this, and still not willing to take responsibility. It is the fault of God for making man weak. It is the fault of the devil for whispering in my ear. It is not on me.
Mea culpa.
But God forgive me for what I feel. God forgive her for what she has done to me, and then God forgive me again for what I will do. It is, like you said, it is majesty. Like, it is powerful. Like, holy shit.
Jesus. Out There is an amazing song. Like, Quasimodo only gets, like, one real song. He gets two, because he gets Heaven's Light and Out There. Out There is so fucking good. It's the Disney princess song.
Yeah.
But it's like, yeah. Going back to Frollo, I do like that you were saying, like, it's not enough to make you feel sorry for him, but it gives him just that little bit of humanity, which, again, having read the book, it's like, he is a much nicer person in the book. Like, he genuinely took in Quasimodo of the kindness of his heart. He did not kill his mother. He is the Archbishop of Notre Dame. He is a genuinely just really caring person, but it is his lust that eventually gives way and turns him into that thing.
Which, I remembered a couple really funny lines with, like, right after Hellfire. Are you alright, sir? You look a little tired. I had a little trouble with the fireplace. And, like, alright, Quasimodo, we're gonna go over your alphabets. D, damnation. E, eternal damnation.
F, festival. But yeah, God, what a fucking masterpiece.
You're in the court of miracles where it's a miracle if you get out alive. Like, oh, that's cool.
Proven for a little right there, though. I will say it's a bit, you know, pulling the shirt away from your neck, like, proving him a little right there, which I remember the book going out of its way to go, like, no, gypsies are not bad. You know, like, they are a people who need help.
And I mean, even here, though, it's a manner of self-defense, because they see it as, oh, look, it's Frollo's loyal stooge, the bell ringer, and the captain of his guards. If you two found us, that's a fucking problem. We don't want you going back to Frollo. And then that line, we find you totally innocent, which is the worst crime of all.
So you're going to hang.
Where you're like, oh, that's... I don't like the implications of that. Like, on the one hand, I see it as, like, yeah, like us, you were innocent, but apparently in this city, that's enough for a hanging. On the other hand, it can see it as, you are innocent, but you are complicit because you still haven't done anything to help us. And that is the worst crime of all. Being the complicit bystander. And
yeah.
it's so
yeah,
good.
S rank, hard S rank.
Yeah. I don't think it's like just, it's another one of those movies that's just outside my top 10, but Fuck, I can really be convinced to bump it up. I love it so much.
So now we have Hercules, which...
I'm just smiling.
It's not a Renaissance movie in the terms of the majesty, and in terms of the importance and majesty and, like, the grandeur. But it is just a fun movie.
I feel like it is in terms of its visual. Like, it's visual, like,
I do love the visuals where it is kind of like it's mixing more modern animation with that kind of like the Greek painting style.
It's so cool.
It is really nice.
I love the just like gospel choir style of the songs.
Of the muses.
Like, we took the Greek chorus and made them a gospel choir. Here you go.
That is very inventive. I do like that. More like Hercules, am I right?
I'd like to make some sweet music with it.
I think the songs are all fantastic. Like, you know, like Hercules on a roll. There's not that many of them.
There really
There's
are.
like 2 I remember. It's like
when
Zero
they
to
play,
Hero.
they slap.
Like Zero to Hero and
Okay, so there's one at the very beginning where they're like introduced like that's the gospel truth.
Yeah, because it's mostly the muses singing.
Yes, there's Go the Distance.
Go the Distance, which is a fantastic
Okay,
song.
Phil has a song. I don't remember what it's called. Right. And then Zero to Hero. And then there's one at the very end.
Yeah. So like, there's a big chunk of the movie where there's no songs actually, because I think most of the songs are like the first act. But Go the Distance is such a yeah. Go the Distance is such a fantastic song, though. Like, just the hopefulness in it. It is really well done. The other songs are fun, but this one feels like a Renaissance song, where it's like, this is an important song. I like Herc. I do kind of like his character arc. How am I not a hero yet? You know? You gotta love, I believe that's John Goodman as Zeus.
Is it?
He kind of has that same, like...
Yeah, like, now I'm kind of, like, imagining what he sounds like. Like, I can hear the Johnny G in there.
Let me look this up, actually. I want to make sure I've got this correct.
I'm not sure, but it wouldn't surprise me.
We got James Wood as Hades, Susan Egan as Megara, Danny DeVito as Phil, Roger Bart as Hercules, and Tate Donovan as Hercules. It's Rip Torn, actually. That's it. It's Rip Torn as Zeus. If you've ever seen the Men in Black movies, then he's... yeah.
Oh, sorry. I think one of my favorite moments in any Men in Black movie is when Michael Jackson's like, I could be Agent M.
He was also Patches in Dodgeball. I figured you know that movie a bit better.
Yes, I fucking love Dodgeball.
But,
he has a thing for underdog stories.
Yeah. Danny DeVito as Phil, that one's fun. Star of the show is James Wood as Hades. Like, I love what they do with Hades. Now, I don't want to bang on historical inaccuracies because this is mythological inaccuracies, but, like, Hades is actually one of the few not pieces of shit in Greek mythology, aside from the Aphrodite incident, but even then, you know, it kind of...
Aphrodite? Persephone?
Persephone, that's it. Kind of stole her, but like, Hades is genuinely one of the nicest people in Greek mythology as opposed to his douchebag brother Zeus.
Here, and Poseidon.
And Poseidon, Jesus. Poseidon's a real asshole. And Hera. It's like, did Zeus rape you? That sounds like your problem.
And basically all of them.
Yeah, they're all...
Hephaestus is pretty cool, from what I remember. Dionysus is a bro. Hestia was just a nice person.
Yeah. Although Zeus wasn't a complete douchebag because he was also the god of hospitality, and it's like, yeah, if you are a good house guest or if you are a good host, he's really nice with you. If you fuck with sacred hospitality,
yeah, you get fucked.
You get super fucked. And that is one of those things where it's like, oh, he fucked someone up and they completely deserved it. Because I think there was like one time where like he and a couple of his god homies like went to a dude's house and the dude cooked his son.
Yeah.
And
like Titus Andronicus himself.
And Zeus was so pissed off, he's like, yo, Hades, can we resurrect this dude? Yeah. So he brought the son back, and he's like, fuck you real hard, buddy. And it's like, I think that's like one of the only times they brought someone back in Greek mythology, because that was the whole point. It's like, if someone's died, they are dead. But getting away from that, Hades is so much fun. The sleazy used car salesman was what James was going for. James Wood was going for. It works so well. I think the funniest scene for me is him freaking out about Hercules like beating all of his monsters. And he looks down and he sees like one of his minions are wearing like Hercules sneakers. Are those?
I don't know. I thought they looked kind of dashing.
I have 24 hours to get rid of this bozo before the plan I've been working on for 18 years goes up in smoke, and you are wearing his merchandise!
As the other one is just drinking a Herc-themed drink.
And he just freaks the fuck out. I love, like, the expression on, like, his hair, like, it gets really red
good.
when he gets angry. And, yeah, he's just a really good villain. It's just a fun movie. It's kind of like what you were saying with Aladdin. It feels like a Vegas show. Like, this feels a bit more like a Vegas show to me. And it's like, yeah, it's just entertaining. I don't think it's as strong as the previous 4 movies. Or I don't think it's as strong. I don't think it's as strong as the big 4 Renaissance movies like Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, what have you. But I would say it's an A-B movie. What do you think?
I mean, as for me, myself, personally, this is an S-tier movie. Because of how much I genuinely love it, I will settle for giving it an A on its sheer entertainment value.
Okay.
Herc's entire character, especially in the first act, he's not fitting in, things aren't going well, and he just wants to be able to go the distance to prove himself, to fit in. As someone who was bullied a lot as a kid, something that really resonated with me. And, I kind of like what you were saying, how Go the Distance feels like a strong Renaissance song because of that. That's why I think Zero to Hero works too. Because, like, here's the song about how I want to be able to fit in. I hate being so ostracized. And then here's the song about he was able to. He put in the work.
And it's the
triumph. And look at where he is. It is the triumph. Oh, I fucking love it. It's so good. Like, it hits me very emotionally in the exact opposite way that Go the Distance was. It's like, this is like where I've been. This is the one where I want to be. And good shit. I do think Herc is, like, I do like him a lot as a character. I freaking love Meg. And just how snarky she is the entire movie. I think she is hilarious. Danny DeVito is in a movie, which means he's fucking hilarious. That is great. Pain and Panic are our girlies. I loved them as a kid. I had a lot of different toys and, like, plushes of Pain and Panic because those existed. As an adult, like, I still like them. I don't think they're as funny as when I was younger, but they're fine. Hades steals the fucking show just like he did when I was a kid. Every line, just that, like you said, he is that sleazy used car salesman. And it's, like, from what I understand, like, after James Woods auditioned, and that was his vibe, they rewrote the character. Like, that's so good! We have to just use that going forward. That's brilliant. I don't really have anything else to really say about it. Not real. I think I do like the climax. I love the thing that does, like, what is it that makes you a hero, Herc? It is not fighting monsters. It is not the merchandise. I'm an action figure. It is self-sacrifice. It is putting yourself genuinely on the line to help another person. And there is just something beautiful about that. I really do. And the fact that he literally punches Hades' face in is funny as fuck. Okay, I deserve that. The Titans, I fucking love the Titans. Holy shit, these things are so cool. I wanted for years to fight all of them in Kingdom Hearts. And as much as I fucking hate Kingdom Hearts 3, it gave me what I wanted.
I don't think Kingdom Hearts 3 is a good game.
I've never fought the Cyclops, though. They still didn't give me that, but another Rock Titan fight, you fight the Ice Titan, you fight the Tornado Titan. It's fucking weird, but I got to do it. I got to fight the Volcano Titan. And Olympus is just, like, the best world in the game.
It really is. Aside from, like, Toy Story.
And Tangled's really good, too. Like,
Tangled
the first
really good.
act
the
is
first
really
act of Kingdom
good,
Hearts 3
and then
is, like,
it just
really
gets
good.
worse.
It just gets worse, yeah. Fuck Kingdom Hearts 3.
But, I love this movie, man. Like I said, like, I would put it an S personally, but I understand it being more of an A.
So now it's time for Mulan. So let's just go ahead and skip the shenanigans. Put that back up there where it belongs. Mulan's a fucking great movie.
Yeah, this is a movie that's in my top 10. I love Mulan so much.
Hey, Disney writers, this is actually how you do a strong female protagonist, okay? This is actually how you do it, and not that dumb bullshit you did with the live-action remake. That can go fuck itself.
Have you seen it? I haven't seen it. I've heard not good
I
things
stopped
about
watching it. I watched it, and then I got disgusted and I quit.
So elaborate on that.
Okay, so let's go ahead and compare the characters then, because it really is Mulan. It is her character of, so in this movie, in the original movie, you know, she does feel constrained by her role as a woman in the family, and you know, this very misogynistic culture, and she does want to do more than that, but she is very constrained. But when her father, you know, he's being drafted into the army to go fight Shan Yu, which at his age is certain death. She's like, she sees her opportunity to not just break out of her role, but also to do it out of a genuine place of love for her family. Problem, she sucks at it, because...
Also, if she gets caught, she'll fucking die.
If she gets caught, she'll die. She also sucks at it, because she has not trained her whole life to be a soldier. Like, she kind of practices a little bit out of the way, but it is not nearly enough to make her ready to fight in a real battle. And the movie spends a long time showing that, and showing how, yes, she has to grow into this role. Because she's trash. She's doo-doo butter. Everybody knows it. Everybody makes fun of her for it. But she is able to get through it through a combination of genuinely learning and growing stronger and using her wits. You know, she's kind of like Aladdin, that guile hero. It's like, yeah, you know, got to get that arrow on the top of the pole. Everyone tries to climb up with brute strength, so she uses, at the very, you know, like, she uses the weights to use them as a support to pull herself up to the arrow. And when she gets that confidence boost during, like, the best song in the movie, because everybody knows the song, you know, like,
let's get down to
business
to defeat
the Huns. And after she gets that confidence boost, that's when she genuinely starts to really improve. And by the end of that song, her and the rest of her friends are trained enough. They may not be necessarily ready for war, but they are no longer helpless.
And seeing her do that is what gets them their respect. They're like,
yes,
you seem like you were a total dumb piece of shit. Fucking respect.
Yeah, and then, like, she is the one who destroys most of Shan Yu's army through genuine guile and intelligence. And some actual, like, physical skill. So let's compare that to Mulan in the live-action movie. Because we've got Mulan and we got Mulan.
Now Mulan.
So Mulan, you know, kind of the same thing. She wants to do more. She wants to help her family. She's constrained by a misogynistic society. But then she gets into the army, and she's fucking amazing at everything. And everyone's like, oh, wow, Mulan, you're so fucking perfect at everything. It's the Rey problem. It's the Rey problem in Star Wars, where it's like, hey, you know how it took Luke, like, 3 movies to actually be a Jedi? Because it's something that doesn't happen in a few days. It is something you genuinely need to build a connection to the Force to. You need to learn how to fight with a lightsaber, and you need to learn to use the Force in tandem. And the philosophy of the Jedi as well, where it is about using the light side of the Force. It is about non-aggression. It is about self-defense, and it is about inner peace. You know, because inner turmoil, those raging emotions, that is what leads to the dark side. In Mulan, she's so fucking perfect at it. Like with Rey. Rey just is like, oh, I can use the Force. And then she starts fucking mind controlling people, you know, doing all these mind benders and fucking, like, using the Force like she's a fucking master. And she doesn't have to improve. She doesn't have to train. I genuinely don't think she learned anything while she was training with Luke. I don't think she learned anything at all. One, because Luke didn't want to teach her anything because, you know, they ruined that character. But also because she didn't really need training because she's already fucking perfect at everything. And that was kind of the reason I stopped watching the live-action Mulan movie. It's like, well, you took away the main struggle of the movie, is Mulan genuinely building herself up so that she can do what she needs to do. She doesn't need to in that movie. And it's so fucking irritating because that does not make her a strong woman. it makes her physically a strong woman, but it doesn't make a strong character. Because strong characters generally need to earn their strength. Luke, for example, he starts off as kind of a weak character. He doesn't really know what he's getting into. He is full of brash confidence. Sure, he can kind of shoot, he can kind of pilot, and he's starting to kind of understand the Force. But he is still very much a novice. In Empire Strikes Back, he does advance his training, but he leaves too soon. That brash confidence of a novice is still there, and Darth Vader proves him very fucking wrong. Something I never noticed as a kid was that, yeah, you think it's a really even... Like, when I was a kid, I always thought that fight with him in Empire Strikes Back was a super even fight until, like, the very end. No. Darth Vader's fucking with him the entire time. Because you can just kind of see it, like, for most of the fight, Darth Vader's just holding his lightsaber in one hand. He's just kind of casually parrying Luke. And he's like, he's giving him tips, he's giving him pointers, like, yeah, you're pretty alright, but you are not a Jedi yet. And then at the very end of the fight, when he just fucking pops out and he just fucking goes for it, he's holding the lightsaber in both hands, he is swinging with a lot of force, Luke is being pushed back, and you realize he's been fucking with him the entire time. But when Luke gets that glancing blow on his shoulder and Darth Vader gets pissed, Luke is done in like 2 seconds.
He's like, okay, now time to take you seriously.
It's like, alright, buddy. Okay, I'll play. And, yeah, a strong character needs to earn their strength to be a character that people actually like and care about. I care about Mulan in the animated movie because I understand the position she is in, the danger she is putting herself in for the sake of her family, but it doesn't shy away from the fact that, no, she is legitimately an untrained person. She is legitimately physically weaker than everybody else because she is a smaller woman compared to these really big burly men. She is physically weaker. She doesn't know what she's doing, but she works for it. She fucking earns her place in this movie. I think one of my favorite scenes is when they're finally done with their training
sequence. When they all dress up in
drag. No, not that. Is when they go to that camp and it's destroyed. And that's when it hits them that they're at war. And then you get the whole scene with the like the mountain with Shan Yu's army, where it's like there's like a few dozen of them versus Shan Yu's fucking like legions, his horde, and they win through Mulan's legitimate guile and bravery. They are able to win. And then, you know, you get to the whole palace thing where it's like they gotta sneak into the palace, they gotta fight off a few Shan Yu's guards, and then the fight with Shan Yu himself, where Mulan is actually, you know, she's kind of using her sword, she is showing a bit of skill, but she still defeats Shan Yu through her intelligence, which has been shown to always have been her strongest point. To me, she is my favorite Disney princess, because even the supernatural aspect of, like, Mushu is kind of there to assist a little bit, but Mulan earns everything she does. And she, like, I really like her. I really like this movie. The live-action version can kiss my ass. I sat through the Lion King live-action movie. I sat through Beauty and the Beast. I couldn't finish Mulan. It felt even more insulting than those movies, because it got the most critical aspect of that story wrong. And Lion King didn't necessarily get the story wrong. It's just a hideous movie that's overly padded. Beauty and the Beast got pretty much everything wrong. But it was at least trying to kind of do something, and the characters are kind of similar. Mulan just gets it wrong. And then you have Aladdin, which mostly gets it right, but it's still not great. It still doesn't quite work. And then Jungle Book it's a good adaptation. It is a good version of that story. But that is, again, going back to a good movie. Mulan's an S-tier movie, easy. But what do you think?
So, like I said, this is one of my, 10 favorites of all 61. Maybe after I watch Strange World, again, things can change. I don't know where it'll go. I could love it. I could hate it. It could be somewhere else. I think this movie is fucking great. Mulan is one of my favorite characters in the entire marathon. I would say I don't like her as a Disney princess because she's not a princess. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. But she is probably my favorite character out of all... I don't know how many there are. Like, 10 of them? However many. I remember a few years ago listening to the song Reflection. Which is a very good song. I like it a lot.
Mm.
And how...
This is another weird Disney movie where they only have like a couple songs in the first act, and that's kind of it.
Yeah. But it's one of those songs where I'm like, this sounds very differently in like the late 2010s and 2020s. This sounds like a trans song. And I don't want to be like, yeah, like they were deliberately writing a trans character or non-binary, because I don't think that's what they were doing at all. But listening to him, like, I can really hear, like, who is that girl I see staring at me? Why is my reflection someone I don't know? I was like, that's really interesting. I felt like I needed to bring that up. I love Mushu. You didn't really say anything about it. It's like, I don't really have anything to disagree about all the stuff you said. I love the characters in this movie. The part in the camp, the Make a Man Out of You, is one of my favorite Disney songs. That scene is so satisfying to watch. So, the things you didn't say, I really like Shang. I love the scene.
I love Shen Yu. I will say that.
The scene where they all dress up in drag, I think is really funny, but it's also we're gonna follow you because we know that when you do shit, like, we get results. We gotta do some dumb shit, okay, we're gonna trust you. And how, they all climb the thing, like, using their sashes and shit, like how she climbed the pole. And then Shang just starts doing it too. I'm like, I fucking take that. Mushu is funny as hell. The scene where he's riding the panda and he's talking to the dude, like, just makes me laugh every time.
Which makes the second
What's the
movie
matter?
even worse.
You never seen it black and white before?
Which makes the second movie even worse.
Oh, yeah, the second one's awful. Like, excuse me? I think the question is, who are you? We're in a war, man! This ain't no time for stupid questions! Very well. You can have his job. That scene's funny as fuck. I really like her family. They're not in it for very long, but you do get the sense of, like, how, like, of a tight-knit group they are, which I think is really sweet. Yeah, Shan Yu is very intimidating. The reason when you're like, one of the weaker villains, is like, is it Shan Yu that you're talking about? Because I really like him, but I feel like you've said before, you're like, he's not in the movie a whole lot. You don't get a lot of his, like, character or motivation.
But you don't need it.
Yeah, like, the little bit of motivation he gives by building that wall, he challenged my strength. Like, you think you can keep me out? Well, now I gotta see if you can.
Now all of China knows you're here.
Good. Like, that's so badass.
How many people do you need to deliver a message?
One. Like, every scene he's in, like, you just feel the intensity. And yes, like, the scene where they go to the village and they see the horror of war, to me what makes it is the fact that they were just singing, like, 2 seconds ago. They're literally still singing the song, and then everything stops.
And it is quiet.
It's quiet. Besides, the little girl will be missing her doll. We should return it to her. And then there's the doll. It's there. You're like... like, it's it's a very impactful scene. And it is like, this is the tone change of the movie. There's no songs after this. There's still some, like, jokes, but not as many. Like, the movie gets a lot more serious, and I think it works. And that part at the end where the Emperor bows to her. That's badass.
That's powerful.
Holy shit.
It's like that quote from Lord of the Rings. It's like, my friend, you bow to no one.
It's a fucking phenomenal movie.
It's a phenomenal movie.
So then, the last movie of the Renaissance, I think this is going to be the last one we do today. That's been like 2 hours.
It's been a bit longer than that. Tarzan.
What I sincerely love about this movie is not the Phil Collins songs, although I love them because I'm a Phil Collins guy. It is not Brian Blessed hamming it up, although I love Brian Blessed hamming it up. It is not how fucking creepy his death is, where you just see the silhouette of him hanging, although that's great. What I love about the movie is how Tarzan moves, because rewatching it, just
the animalistic.
Yes, like that
movement.
combination of being a human on two legs and still being an ape walking around on like all four, and how he's able to just traverse shit was such a treat to watch. I don't think I would say it's the best looking Renaissance movie, but I feel like it's one of the most interesting looking in a genuinely good way.
I really like the trees, like the way, like the vines and everything. It's like that stuff is really interesting. I do think it has some good animation. I just don't care for this movie. I'm gonna be honest. I don't think it's a bad movie by any stretch of the imagination, but it is, the Renaissance does end with a bit of a whimper in my eyes. And I think that really comes down to just, okay, number one, I know you said you like Phil Collins. I like Phil Collins. I don't like the way he's used in this movie. Because I believe we talked about this in
Brother Bear.
We'll talk about that in Brother Bear, but we'll also talk about this. We talked about this with Spirit in the DreamWorks movie, where it's like, I fucking hate when they're doing background songs in a movie, and the background song is just saying what's going on. And it's like, it's one of those things that actually kind of bugs the shit out of me. For me, it is a personal pet peeve. I know people like it. People like Phil Collins songs and what have you. South Park doesn't like Phil Collins. I believe it was this movie. I believe it was this movie that they lost the Oscar to.
I think it was. I'm gonna check.
I think it was around this time, because that was when the South Park movie came out. And yeah, it's like, I think Phil Collins, he's a good singer. I think he has some good music. He has one of the best drum rolls ever in a song. Just holy shit. Do 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 do. Want you read it? Da, 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 da. I can't remember the lyrics, unfortunately. But I don't. The songs always felt super intrusive to me. I like the characters. I like Tarzan.
Yes, as You'll Be in My Heart is what beat Blame Canada.
I like Tarzan. I like Jane. I do like Clayton, mostly because it's Brian Blessed, and Brian Blessed is another voice actor that just adds to any scenario he's in. But again, he falls apart as a villain just because of the, I'm doing this for the money, you know? And it's like, I always find that to be a super weak motivation for a villain. Unless there is a reason for their desperation for money. Like, if it is genuinely like if I don't get this money, like, I'm fucked. Kind of like Facilier in Princess and the Frog. His motivation is power and money. Why? He has a debt to pay. And if he doesn't get it, he's fucked.
I ain't ready. No, I ain't ready.
In fact, I got lots more plans. But here it's just like, nah, he's just a greedy asshole. He does die. He possibly has one of the most metal deaths in Disney, though. Like, holy shit.
I don't think it beats Sykes.
I don't think it beats Sykes. That's literal metal right there. Metal on metal, just. I think the professor's fine.
He's okay.
I didn't like the elephant or the little ape. I can't.
You don't like Turk.
I don't like
Rosie
Turk
O'Donnell?
I don't like. Rosie O'Donnell is kind of the opposite of like Ava Gabor or Brian Blessed, where it's like her voice actually kind of detracts from things. I don't like her voice. Nothing against Rosie O'Donnell. I think she can be genuinely funny. But there's something about her voice that, I don't know, just kind of just doesn't... It rubs me the wrong way. And it feels kind of mean to say that. But it's like, I don't quite like it. I don't like the elephant. I like Kerchak. I do like his character. And that's really it when it comes to the character. I mean, like the mom she's fine. She has some good scenes, but she kind of stops being a character.
I really like Tarzan's relationship with her and Kerchak.
Yeah.
And like just that very beginning of the movie of the human family losing the parents and then the ape family losing the kid.
Yeah.
Is a really good scene. It's fucking heartbreaking.
It is. Which is kind of weird that they kill that leopard like at the beginning of the first act. It's like you feel like he'd be kind of a main antagonist throughout, but no, he dies relatively quickly.
That's a fucking awesome scene.
That is
What a great fight.
Yeah. It is very well choreographed. I think it is. It's a fine movie. I feel like for me, it is somewhere in the B-C range.
I'm more of an A-B, so I think we can settle on giving it a B.
The B tier was getting kind of lonely there for a moment.
What was the last movie in B?
Black Cauldron.
Oh, I still think that's too low for Black Cauldron.
I know. But yeah, so that was the end of the Renaissance. And looking at the list, it's like, yeah, there's a lot of quality. There's quite a bit of mid. Not a lot of bad stuff, but that'll probably change with our next.
I don't even know if it will that much. I mean, just looking at some of them, like 2 of my favorite movies are coming up pretty soon.
Yeah, but both of our bottom of the fucking barrel movies are coming up too.
Yeah, but that's not for. Oh, actually, mine is coming up pretty soon.
Yeah.
No,
the next video is gonna be fun.
So I guess that's a question. Like looking forward, are we gonna do all the rest of them in the next one, or is there gonna be?
I feel like for the next one we'll probably just go up to Princess and the Frog.
Movies.
I think for the next movie we'll go up to Princess and the Frog because the Tangled is the beginning of the new Renaissance.
I think Princess and the Frog is considered the start of it.
Is it?
I think so.
Not sure because I think there was kind of a big gap between Princess and the Frog and Tangled.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that'd be about 11 movies if we go up to Bold.
Yeah, I think that's a good place to stop, though.
I think that's
all right.
Fine.
So we will see you all in the next episode.
Bye.
Bye-bye.